Hey, hello, and welcome to the Video Game Dads podcast. This is episode 65.
65. Ooh,
Yeah, so congratulations. You're old enough to retire.
That's right. Social Security, here I come.
Yeah, well, actually, we have now changed it because it's the year 2030. You have to be 70 to collect Social Security. That's what they're going to do to us.
Oh, that's exactly what they're going to do. My mom actually just sent me a message the other day that she's like, oh, I get Social Security. You know, like, and I was like, kind of bragging because she knows that I'm not going to get it.
Oh.
I'm like, thanks, Mom.
Way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, thanks for, you just keep working.
Yeah. All in due time. Well, anyway, we're a podcast where three guys in the basement talk gaming, fatherhood, and everything in between. We are your hosts. I am Ben.
I'm Adam.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Michael.
Yeah, so we got four of us here in the hizzy. Thanks for joining us. So we are family friendly, meaning there won't be any cussing, but no promises there won't be at least a little bit of adult content here and there.
Such as the word hizzy.
But yeah, you know, a little
Which
hizzy.
is hizzy, for those that don't know, means house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you know, and if you've got any plants outside, like a pussy willow, that's okay to say.
Absolutely. No,
I don't think I could say that without laughing.
In
honestly.
context, well, yeah, you don't want to say it all the way.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
So anywho, that kind of thing will fly, maybe.
Depending on how we're doing it.
Yeah, where can you email us, Adam?
Videogamedads@yahoo.com.
Yeah, videogamedads@yahoo.com. Give us an email. And you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/videogamedads. You can tweet at us at videogamedads, and I think it's at videogamedads on the Instagram, too. You can find us pretty easily, probably. We've been posting a few here and there, so reach out to us.
And
It's
the
been great.
Twitters. You know, the Twitters. Too.
Yep, I said that. Twitter's at videogamedads.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't hear it.
No, that's okay. Everybody's like, that's a lot to keep up with anyway. So
Yeah, exactly.
Email probably always wins, and
Or carrier pigeon.
yeah, and our Facebook is honestly kind of the bigger one to direct message us, but we'll do it wherever. Point is, we're an amateur family friendly podcast. We are the #1 podcast with the name Video Game Dads in it. We're
That is
pretty proud.
correct. It's been verified.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and we are the #1 listened to podcast in Iceland related to amateurs and video game dads. We're waiting for our plaques and things like that.
Yeah.
I want a medal.
They just released their ratings last week in a magazine. Absolutely. #1 in things that contain video games, dads, Iceland, and amateurs. All that was #1.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, be careful of the order that you search those in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
But this guy named Borgen is coming over with his Viking ship, and he's about to bomb us. But little does he know, we're far away from the coast. We're in the Midwest. So anyway, folks, thanks for listening. We're going to talk about a few things today. Namely, of course, our patented Videogame Book Club. We got a couple Nintendo 64 games. Funny enough, on our 65th episode to talk about. We've got our handheld holla to talk about. We're also going to talk about vacays a little bit as the weather is warming up, hopefully in your neck of the woods too. We're going to talk about some vacation memories, maybe some things we have planning, what that means as an adult, what that means as a parent. Spoiler alert, they're not as fun as they were when you were the kid.
Very true.
Yeah, and we've been saying it forever, our top 100 games of all time. This is a personal list. We had an email last time. We talked about how it was fun for that, and I've discovered this too. So we've all had an assignment. We're going to pick kind of 90 through 100. We're going to present to you guys. And this isn't necessarily like the hundreds our least favorite to 90s our best. We just kind of rounded out our lowest tier, and we're going to work our way down. So we're doing 91 through 100. This episode. That's going to be fun, and I want you guys to play along too. Let us know what you think, and maybe you'll find what I have found. I don't know if you guys, but the list is getting wrought with nostalgia. Yes, a lot of hey, what do you know, Mario, a Zelda, but also, you know, Beavis and Butthead for the Super Nintendo. Who knows what's going to be in there?
Desert Bus.
Random stuff. Desert Bus. Yeah. But I tell you, as you're getting an age, this might be a fun thing to do every 10 years or so. So anyway, that's going to be on this episode and so much more. Thanks for listening. Why don't we get started with our Video Game Book Club?
fast. It's more than the altitude. It's Aspen. Aspen Cologne for men. Live the life.
All right, our video game book club brought to you by Aspen for Men. Wonderful cologne.
It is wonderful.
Yeah, I just like if you ever can see a commercial. When I was a kid, Aspen, it has a green bottle, like dark green. It's got a gold top and a leaf, like right in the middle.
And it drives the ladies crazy.
That should unlock memories for everybody, because I remember seeing that anytime you see like generic cologne, I feel like I remember Aspen for Men.
That's right.
And it's like, I wonder if they still sell that. Do
I'm
they?
sure somebody
they
still
obviously
sells
do
it.
because they're our sponsor.
Yeah,
For this commercial.
sure.
There's some dorm room that hasn't been walked into since like 1993 that's just full of that stuff.
Oh, well, I mean, the commercial was before. I think that's how Axe body spray, because Axe was all about, you spray it and all these women come.
Yeah, see, by the time I was in college, Axe had come out. And
Yes.
I have memories of walking on, like, we had elevators in our, like, dormitory.
Yeah.
And, like, walking into the elevators and just, like, asphyxiating on the way to my room.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
there was
your body
so
spray
much
for
Axe
covering
body
up
spray.
blood in dorm rooms.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because dudes with, like, their jackets, they would just, like, and the ladies were just as bad, only it wasn't Axe, it was Bath and Body Works.
Yes.
Okay.
Stuff. It was like around the same time, and like
Yeah.
everybody needed to have like a talk with like a moderator to be like, okay, there's an appropriate amount of like smell stuff that you're supposed to put on, and you're using way too much.
Yeah, it's like they didn't know. That's why in the old days they didn't even have spray. You had to like dip it upside down, put it on your thumb, and your thumb
it had
tapped your skin.
Yeah, it had the little tiny opening on it. Yeah, and you just got like a drop, and you kind of did the thing
And
on the bottom of your chin. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's what we're supposed to
When
do.
I was in college, Axe actually came to my fraternity and gave us like a case of Axe body spray for free
that is hilarious.
as like a promotion.
like
yeah.
my fraternity was
That is the
sponsored
most
by
college-y
yeah,
thing ever.
yeah.
Well,
that
no,
is-
they
that
were
is
just
super
they were
college-y.
smart. And they were just trying to get
Yeah.
it in the
Yeah,
hands
they-
of everyone.
they-
And then if they liked it, they rebought it, and I guess it was worth it.
And
Yeah,
now
I
they
don't know.
teach the girls, like, if you smell it, run the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, think how much that actually costs to make. Probably.
I'm dead serious. When my daughter gets older, I'm gonna like buy a bottle of Axe body spray at Walmart or something, and just like spray it on a rag and be like, if you ever smell this,
Yeah.
Run.
you report to me immediately.
Yeah.
So,
Find one of those
Yeah,
safe
you
spaces at a Quick Trip,
you tell
whatever
them that
gotta
you are
do.
busy and not interested, and you walk away.
yeah, a guy I used to work with would tell me he was a substitute teacher he was a substitute teacher, and he would teach gym, and he told me it was the worst because all the boys, the locker room would smell so terrible, and they would just like drown themselves
Oh,
in
yeah.
Axe after working out. It was like way too much.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so thank you, Aspen, for the sponsor and the commercial. Well, it's because the commercial. If you look back at the commercial, it is like a Showtime movie.
It is. It's like the beginning of Showtime late night.
Very high production.
Yeah, high production. It's tastefully done.
Yeah. So you know what else is tastefully done? This segment, the Video Game Book Club. So what we do is we try to pick out games from a library that's not in the top 15% or so of popularity sold. So if it's ever going to be on a player's choice or something like that, for the most part, it would not get picked. So we try to pick a game. Our viewers will pick one. The dads will pick one. It could be from any system at this point because we kind of hop through all of them. We're going chronologically, and now it's kind of whatever you want. It even could be a handheld. And then we talk about it on the following episode. So we pull from the randomizer for you guys, and then we kind of go around robin for the dads. And unironically, on our 64th episode, we had 2 64 games picked. And that was, Adam.
Sarge's Heroes. Army Men Sarge's Heroes, sorry.
Yep, for the Nintendo 64.
For the Nintendo 64. And NFL Blitz with a Z.
NFL Blitz, the original. There are 4 NFL Blitz games for the Nintendo 64, but we picked the OG, isn't that right?
That's right, the original.
Yep, and tell me the other 3 there, Michael.
It is NFL Blitz 2000.
Yep.
I believe there's actually 4. But,
That's what I said, 4. Yep.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 2001.
Yes.
And NFL Blitz Special Edition.
Yeah.
Which is essentially NFL Blitz 2002.
Yeah, they
So
just
updated the
made
rosters.
it a little cooler.
Yeah, and it's funny, like the NFL Blitz, they ended up making a 3 and a 4, and 2004 they started to call NFL Blitz Pro, and then people hated that because they're like realism with Blitz, and then it left for a couple of years, and it came back as the League, Blitz the League, right?
Yeah, Blitz the League.
Blitz the League 2.
Yeah, there was something even after that, I think.
Yeah, so in 2012 they made a download-only Blitz.
That's right.
And it was only
2012.
called NFL Blitz.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, though, you could. But what's neat is if you had a PlayStation Plus membership, which I did, you could get it for free. So I went back and looked, and I still have it available. But what sucked is, unlike NBA Jam 2012, they never released a physical of the 2012 Blitz, which was like kind of,
Yeah, the NBA Jam 2012 is an aside. It's a pretty good game.
Yeah. So which one should we do first?
Let's do Army Men, I think. Sarge's Heroes.
Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. All right, what you got on it?
All right, so Army Men, Sarge's Heroes is made by the 3DO company. And was released for the N64, the PlayStation, the Dreamcast, and Microsoft Windows in North America on September 28th, 1999. So this would have been roughly almost exactly 3 years into the lifespan of the N64. It came out in Europe in April of 2000, and I don't guess there was a Japanese release, but this is a third-person shooter.
Yep.
That has a single-player campaign and also multiplayer up to 4 players. It does support the N64 expansion pack, the Rumble pack, and the memory card.
There you go.
So it's kind of an interesting game. I had never played this before. And just let me take a side change in here for a minute. I got a little bit curious about the 3DO company, so I just happened to look it up because you always think about 3DO like the obscure console 3DO.
Yep.
Right.
So it is the same company. So I don't really fully understand, but 3DO Company is basically, as near as I can tell, was a subsidiary of EA.
Yes.
That continued to produce games or act as a publisher, kind of a side branch of EA, for a while until it went defunct.
Was it that Trip Hawkins founded it, he owned it, found it separately? But
correct.
Then
I think it was separate. Yeah, I think it was separate from EA.
Bad.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I read the Wikipedia, so whatever that's worth, but But yeah, it's like a partnership with EA, but it was basically founded by Trip Hawkins. So it's kind of, I guess, his side project, baby sort of thing, but not necessarily directly under EA. But I just thought that was kind of interesting because you don't really think of failed hardware manufacturers becoming publishers and all that type of stuff. But and they made quite a few games. Actually, but
even on into the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 era, they had some decent sports games. I liked High Heat was kind of an arcadey baseball one a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking through here, and there's probably 50 different games that they published or so, and basically on every console. But
a lot of people hold a lot of reverie to these Army Men games.
Yeah. So these going back to Army Men. This is kind of one of those cult following sorts of games, and I don't think it was the least popular N64 game back in the day.
No,
but
my brother loved it. I actually had it as a kid.
But there are people that really like this game or have a lot of
my brother's
nostalgia
one of
for
those
it.
people,
and
he played all of them.
Oh, really? We
should have brought
the
him.
Army Men, Army Men 2.
You could have told us about the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
There's another. So you can play like we were saying before. I think this is a multiplayer game, so it has a split screen. And when we say third-person shooter, that may not mean anything to some people, but basically, third-person shooter means that it's a shooter like Doom or something, but instead of it being through the eyes of the character, you're behind the character,
like Uncharted.
Like Uncharted. So I don't know if anybody ever played Jet Force Gemini on N64, but this kind of puts me a little bit in mind of that game. But essentially, you're controlling army men, and so you're the green army men, at least in the story mode of it. And the green army men are the good guys, and the brown army men are the bad guys.
Yes. Tan.
Or sorry, tan. Not
well,
brown.
I mean, it's just like a shade of brown.
Yeah, but like in your regular army men bucket, there were the green ones, and then they're kind of off green, sort of tannish, grayish kind of colored ones.
Yellow almost.
And so it's made to be just like the, like you used to play with army men back in the day. But every sort of episode of it, you get a list of objectives essentially that you have to perform, and as in playing with real army men, you're usually in some different locale in the house. Sometimes you're on like the kitchen counter. Sometimes you're on like a table. And then there's little obstacles and things for you to hide behind. And there's a big variety of weapons.
Yeah.
And I guess the weapons variety actually is one of the things where this shines a little bit, because there's sniper rifles, there's all different kinds of regular rifles, and then
rockets.
Rockets. I guess the fan favorite is the flamethrower. Yeah. And because you can run up and torch a bunch of other army men.
Yeah, and they slowly melt.
Yeah, and they melt into the thing. So that's kind of like, I think, the sort of the trademark of this game is
that became the whole game to me after a few minutes after I got one. That became my objective.
Well, it's kind of cool because like they can call it animated violence and teen. Now, if this was a reason I remember as a kid, when I was younger, I was already like 15, 14 at the time when these came out. Now, if I would have been 10 or 9, I probably would have eaten these up. So I have a feeling if you're a listener and you're in the lower thirds of your 30s right now to your 20s, maybe up to about 30, like you probably have a better chance of playing these games. But for me, it was just like same as like Power Rangers. I was a little too old, right? And then of course Pokemon, a little too old, as we're all like late 30s here, 40. But I think I missed out because I associate these games with like Rainbow Six, where it's like a tactical shooter. I wouldn't like it. But really, the objectives are fun. It's action-paced. It's not too difficult.
No, and I actually, back in the day, I didn't play these because I saw them more as a kiddie game.
That's what I thought, too. I was playing 007.
But it's like a mix between like a fun kiddie game, but it's definitely meant for a little bit older, like teenage kind of kids.
Yeah, and it wasn't like tactically boring. Like I said, the Rainbow Six games, I thought it's just this with a coat of paint of toys. But no, it honestly is very well done. Yeah, surprisingly well done. Yeah.
I mean, it has the same sort of graphical and camera issues that you kind of expect from N64 games.
Right.
It's helped immensely by having the expansion pack, so I wouldn't really recommend playing this without it,
right,
if that makes sense. And even with the expansion pack, there's actually different graphical options. Like there's a Air Fingers quote high res mode. In high res mode, the graphics look better, but the frame rate's okay for the most part. But if you're if there's a lot of things going on at the same time, you'll get a bunch of slowdown, just sort of like you'd expect. But if you put it in the low res mode with the expansion pack, it actually runs really smoothly. So it's kind of a trade-off sort of thing, whether or not you want frames or you want really good visuals with some slowdown. So there's a little bit of compromise with it. I didn't play this on the PlayStation version, but obviously on the PlayStation version, there's a bunch of like CG cut screens and stuff that aren't, and a lot of dialogue.
Same with Dreamcast. There's more.
Yeah, so if you play it on those platforms, there's much more in the way of story and dialogue than there is on the N64. But there's a surprising amount of story with these objectives and kind of what you do. But and I don't know which versions technically would be. It probably just depends on what your preferred system is. I mean, I'm sure the Dreamcast version is probably the definitive version on this, even though I haven't played it. But
yeah, it looks better, but it's one of those if you don't know what you're missing. I owned it on Dreamcast, never played it, and then when I looked at some comparisons, I'm like, oh yeah, the Dreamcast would be the one to own. But for what this is for 64, and knowing how ugly some 64 games can look, this one. There's not much polygons based, but they're simple. They're simple toys. They're simple green men. You can still shoot and snipe from really far away. The cool thing is, you can still get hit. It's not like stormtroopers. Like if they see you and you don't see them, even though the AI is a little. There are some times where I would walk next to somebody and they didn't spot me, but I just saw it as great. I didn't die cheaply. I feel like if you die, it's because you messed up.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't overdo anything. It doesn't try to get real fancy or whatever. It just tries to be competent, I think, in what it's doing. And it's nothing that's going to be like, wow, it looks great. It's, there's not a lot of wow factor, but it's also pretty solid and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, and it's varied in the gameplay. Like at the very beginning, you are basically like an infantry guy that's attacked, and the Tan Army just took you by surprise. So it's like stakes are high right from the beginning, and you literally have to save your butt, save your captain's rear, and then get on a helicopter and get out of there so you can come up with a plan. I do love how the one female, portal girl is not like it's a product of the 90s for sure, because the female protagonist is like Lara Croft dimensions here, if you know what I'm saying.
But more terrifying. Far more terrifying.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, I was just thinking, like, yeah, you can make it work. You'd have some funny-looking babies.
I was trying to think about this, like with Toy Story, because they have the Army Men in the original Toy Story movie, and the way that the Army Men sort of behave and look and talk and everything, kind of in this is reminds me a lot of that. And I don't know if this was first or if this was after the Toy Story. Like maybe somebody saw Toy Story.
Toy Story
was first.
Yeah, Toy Story was what, 95?
Oh, was it? So that would have been before this then. So maybe that was the inspiration.
I don't know. But
this
isn't the first. The Army Men, yeah.
It's not.
This is like the third, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know my Army Men lineage here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Sarge's Heroes, there's Sarge's Heroes 2.
Yeah.
And then there's the other, although the other Army, this is the first one that I heard was like really, really good.
I think the two before were not third-person shooters like this. I think the two before it were more of a tactical thing.
Right.
I don't know if it's still N64 or PS1 era.
That's probably why I never got into it. But like, I completely recommend this one. I like how the missions are varied. Sometimes you have to like save spies. Sarge's Heroes 2 was one I played, and you have to like literally like stop a train from coming, and there's like more objectives. It's kind of arguable which one's better than the other. The humor is kind of weird because what they do is they kind of make these toys like take the events really seriously. So like the Tan Army is constantly talking about these green-skinned,
like it's like little racist toys or something.
Yeah. Like they really like it's not like they're like, oh gosh, let me go help this. Like they take their world really seriously, which is why I think the whole Toy Story thing, because like Toy Story, they take their job seriously.
Yeah, it's almost like parody. I mean,
yes.
Is that where you're going with this? I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
Where it's kind of making fun of the whole.
It tells you how weird war
just
is.
Just kind of war in general, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely get that. Yeah. Are you looking up some of the other games?
No, I was looking up the other games. So, actually, it was Air Combat. I was trying to remember the name of the first one. Okay. It's Air Combat is the first one, and then Air. Just as an aside, if you're an N64 collector, Air Combat has a gray variant cart, as does Sarge's Heroes 2. If you're into weird stuff.
Yeah, don't be. Just get the one you want.
Yeah, get the green one. Just get the green one.
What's the price going?
Oh, for this one, for just regular Sarge's Heroes, a complete in-box copy will run you about $50. A loose copy will run you 15 to 20.
15 to 20. Yeah, this was one I never played, so I sold it on my Dreamcast because it was part of my complete set. But I bet you if I would have played this back in the day, this definitely would have been one that would have taken the cake of keeping, because there was 2 or 3 Army Men games for the Dreamcast themselves. I mean, they're worth a good amount. I don't know, $40 to me. I'm like, a game I'm never going to play.
Yeah, I really like the tagline of the game, which is, what is it? It's Real Combat Plastic Men.
Yeah.
Very fitting.
And honestly, all the characters,
to the point.
all the characters within the game have some deliberate, stereotypical. It's like Tropic Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, this is kind of like Tropic Thunder meets Plastic Army Men with 64 weirdness. Like nothing's broken. You can snipe guys from far away.
Oh yeah, that was actually my favorite part. I was like, oh, I can actually snipe that guy way over there in an
FPS
N64
mode. Is that what you guys went
yeah.
in 2Ds? That was kind of fun. I thought.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know, there recently, maybe 3-4 years ago, someone found a secret, not in this game, but Sarge's Heroes 2, so within worth talking about. There is this, you have to go on the internet, look up hidden face or screen. So in the 64 version, I think the Dreamcast version especially, it's easiest to see, but no one found this for 22 years, and I don't know if a developer has piped up, but in Army Men Sarge's Heroes 2, if you go through the level in under a minute, you can crawl under a wall, and when you get under this wall, you're in this secret room that literally has this scary, it's a real face, it's a Photoshop face of someone with this huge tumor on their head. They look like Jimmy Neutron, and then a huge scar. And it's obviously like a developer messing with stuff. I don't know if someone went into the code to find it, but it was never ever found or researched or talked about. And I think what someone did was someone made a YouTube video of it 2 years ago, and then someone made a TikTok, and the TikTok has like 2 million views. So you could probably, if you're a TikToker or whatever, you could find it. But look up like Secret Room Sarge's Heroes 2. Just an aside, it's funny because most of the time Easter eggs are found early. But whoever this developer is, hopefully he's still alive. I mean, if he was like 30 at the time, he has to be 55.
That's pretty funny.
But it's really this weird, grotesque. But imagine finding that back then, you know? That would have been awesome.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it made it past the censors for sure. But I was thinking, should I read the back of the box?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. All right, it reads kind of like a mission statement of a, not mission statement, but one of those like logs, like mission logs. Confidential, 0600 hours. Tan forces captured Bravo Company commandos. General Plasto has new weapons of mass destruction. Magnifying glass. Oh, yeah, the magnifying glass. Oh, yeah, he tortures. I forgot that torture scene where he's magnifying.
I'm telling you, man,
like, your
it's
friends.
got to be a Toy Story.
Yeah. Magnifying M80 firecrackers and the garbage disposal. This is a job for Sarge. Requisition M60s, shotguns, bazookas, flamethrowers, grenades, sniper rifles, mortars, minesweepers, and plenty of ammo. Good luck, soldier. And then it shows you Riff, Hoover, Scorch, Sharp, Thick. All your friends.
Thick's the best.
Yeah, Thick is awesome. Thick has more ammo.
It's American Gladiators, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. That is way better than any American Gladiators games.
Nitro Blast.
Oh, I love Ice. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had their... Who was your favorite female?
I don't remember, man.
You just remember the guys?
I do. Honestly, I remember
names.
I just remember...
Turbo, man.
Yeah, Turbo, Nitro.
Yeah.
Pretty much... They were dumb, yeah.
Yeah, Ice is my favorite female. Wasn't
there a guy named Wolf?
I don't know, man. They had like several of them, depending on the year and stuff that you're watching it.
Yeah, they changed it. They rebooted it to like American
It's like somebody
Gladiators.
would die of like steroid overdose, and then they would just bring in somebody else.
Yeah. So anyway, fun factor, playability. I was very surprised by this. I thought this was going to be a slog. It definitely this is before so many games that could this be I think this could be remade.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely could be remade.
I think this is one that could get the Spyro Crash treatment.
Yeah. No, it'd be good if it got remade.
Yeah, I really think this could get remade. Like Army Men Sarge's Hero 1 and 2. A total remake. I mean, not just a remaster, but if they remade this, gosh, it'd be good.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other parting words for
No, let's give it some baby bottles.
Army Men? Okay, let's do it.
I'm going to give it 3.5 baby bottles.
3.5. Okay, what about you, Sean?
Same, 3.5.
All right.
I'm just going to go 3.
Okay.
Straight 3, yeah.
All right.
I'm kind of odd on this one because I played it for longer. I'm going to actually say 4.5 out of 5.
Wow.
I really like this. I was expecting to... I like how it has an auto-aim feature. I like that. Yeah, sometimes you can... I think the tanks can mess you up. If you get shot...
The tanks can definitely
mess you up.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can kind of get a good handle on a tactical... understanding strategy without being boring as heck. You're still guns a-blazing and stuff. But I enjoyed the entire time playing this. And the only reason I stopped playing is it was too late at night or I had to go do something else, not because I wanted to, which isn't always the case on the book club picks. So that gives an average of about a 3.75. Someone check the math, but
yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah,
yeah, it checks out.
But I really like this. I really thank you for this submission. That's a good one for the 64 that I missed out on. All right,
let's move on to NFL Blitz.
Yeah, NFL Blitz, the dad pick.
So this is Michael's pick.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories about NFL Blitz? Why'd you pick this one?
I played this when I was a real young kid. I played this when I was in college with my roommates all the time. I think it's just a really fun game.
Right.
I always played sports games and they were more simulation. This is just more of a no rules, football game. And, when it still keeps, all the NFL licensing and they actually have the real players in it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're not real players, quote unquote, but as long as it's got the
How'd they
names,
get all of them in
as long as
there?
it's got the names and numbers, it's good. It's good with me. So,
all right. Yeah, I've got some of the digits on it. So this is a Midway Games game, or Midway/EA. I guess it was a team up, but it was released in the arcade originally, and then came out on the 64, the PlayStation, the Game Boy Color, Windows, Dreamcast, PS2, Xbox, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, PS3, and Xbox 360.
That's across all of them.
Correct. Yeah, and that's all the different forms. And like Benjamin was saying, the latest release was the 2012 online version. And the original release, the one we're talking about, was released in '97, so just a year, into N64. So actually, when this came out, the N64 would have been pretty darn starved for software, because that first year and a half N64 was out, there was like nothing.
Yeah, took a while.
So this would have been kind of still what I would consider the first wave of games in the N64 library.
Yeah. And it was kind of right when NBA Jam, Midway was trying to jump off of the NBA Jam.
Yeah,
they kind of milked the crud out of that one.
Yeah, it's funny how games work, because NBA Jam is kind of like Guitar Hero or something like that. They just made as many of them as they could, as many different versions as they could, as fast as they could, and capitalized on it, and then burned everybody out. And so this was like, well, we've kind of exhausted the ability to make different versions of the same NBA Jam game, so it's time to move on to football. So it seems kind of daunting, actually, because football doesn't lend itself to being like super arcadey as well as what basketball does in general, I don't think.
Yeah.
Before this, especially.
Yeah, especially before this. So
there were some attempts like super high impact football.
Yeah, and there was Football Frenzy on Neo Geo.
Yeah.
So there were other kind of similar-ish games, but this is
one this reminded me a lot of that catches people off guard is like Quarterback Club, just in like the offensive nature of it. Quarterback Club's one of those where you only play offense, but it's just like so pass heavy and just very fast paced. So that's what I got vibes when I was playing this.
Well, and that's the thing about Blitz is that so it I'm trying to remember how far is the first down.
30,
it's like 30 yards. Is it 30 yards?
Yeah.
30 I was trying to remember if it was 20 or 30, but yeah, so you got to make 30 yards to get a first down. Yeah, but they move really fast, and like each play, is like every 10 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And it's sort of funny, and it's a limited number of move sets and formations, I guess I should say. As you go through, there's not as many as you would expect in like a full football sim. And I think there's 3 linemen, usually a couple of
7-on-7 kind of.
Yeah, 7-on-7 kind of. So there's like 3 linemen, your quarterback, and sometimes a running back and a couple of receivers, or maybe 3 receivers, something like that. But it's funny because they have a few like running plays and stuff. Do you guys ever run the ball?
Not
once.
No.
Does anybody ever run the ball?
Scramble with my quarterback at best.
Yeah, exactly.
I would run it, but then just fake it and throw with the running back.
Correct. Yeah, you just don't go past the line of scrimmage. Yeah. But so it's definitely a pass-heavy game, and it's kind of a purposefully broken game. That's what I've always thought about this.
Well, the tagline was always "No refs, no rules, no mercy."
Yeah, exactly.
And so that made this good because you didn't have to understand American football to play. Much like a home run derby or some of the baseball's different because it's like a pitcher and a hitter,
But you only had to understand timing and space. That's kind of what I feel like. I mean, because it's like, you just know the route that your receiver is going to run. You see where the back is, and then you just kind of wait for the opening, sort of thing. But I don't know. My favorite part about the game, and I think it's probably everybody else's, is not necessarily even playing the game. It's the crap that happens after the play.
Yeah, the late
Absolutely.
hits.
It's because it's like,
well, there's just no rules on defense.
Yeah,
and that's what really changes. It's
Yeah.
not as much the offense; it's the defense that changes.
There's no
this
late
game.
hits. You can tackle everybody.
As
the
a
receiver.
that's my move: is a quarterback and just take out the wide receiver at the very beginning. Switch to the next guy, take out that wide receiver.
Exactly, just knock him down.
Yeah.
And then, but even when when sort of the built-in animations happen after a tackle, like the offensive player will be getting off the ground, and like some other back will come over and just like crush him back into the dirt, or pick him up and do like a pile driver on him or a body slam. And I think it's like this perfect sort of marriage between like football and wrestling. Actually, I mean, you're not really even doing the wrestling moves, but it just has this like cool vibe of all these little funny things that happen around the plays and everything. It's probably my favorite part of it, actually.
And you still have the announcer from NBA Jam came over as well, so that instead of "he's on fire," it's just like "welcome to NFL Blitz," and they have the same. Like the menu system, cheats, you can have big head, you can have extra fumbles, even though there's definite...
Play at night, there's all kinds of
there's
things.
definite rubber banding going on here for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think if you pick the right plays, and I mean, a way to get good at this is to cheese the heck out of it. You find the...
Oh, yeah, you find the play that works, then you just keep doing it.
The play, like Sub-Zero, I would always use the play in the team. And sometimes you can... And you generally can blow out poor teams, but also if there's other teams that have like crazy good running backs, there's not much moves you can do. You could do a stiff arm. My play would always be if I start running and I'm getting down the field, someone's about to catch me, I just jump out of bounds. You can't run out of bounds, but you can jump.
Yeah.
And that would be always how I would almost guarantee I could score without doing. And what's funny is if you do that enough and you're playing a team and you're up by 3-4 points and it's like late in the playoffs, they want a rubber band so bad that I would just for fun like run the ball normally, and I would fumble every play until the score would get close to like within 7. So it's definitely a game that's meant for everybody to play, fun for the family, easy to pick up and play. Here's a fun fact. The lady who played Sonya Blade back for Mortal Kombat also was one of the cheerleaders in the original NFL Blitz.
That's funny.
So she's also seen here. I forget what her name is in real life, but she just like the guys that we've met at the cons that played Liu Kang and Johnny Cage. She also makes a show here, and they always show the kind of TNA women there throughout the whole thing, but. I always love there's some secret teams, things like that.
I always like the code entering menu because you had like 3 buttons and it's all logos and stuff.
Yeah,
so
we just mashed. I just always mashed them. I never even looked up what they were.
I used to get like EGM back in the day, and EGM sometimes
have
had like the cheat codes. Because the developers would be like, oh, you want big head, it's like 3 Blitz logos, or if you want. Yeah. It's an NFL logo, a Blitz logo, and a football or something and something else. So you could put in all these different codes. And the same thing with NBA Jam. I mean, I remember the first time I played NBA Jam and I was Bill Clinton, or put in big head, or you do big head, tiny body mode.
I didn't even know what those codes were the first time I played NBA Jam.
Yeah, like what is this thing? Why is that even?
I used to just mash as hard as I could and try to get something.
And then was this the first game that you can use the N64 pack on the arcade? So if you
I believe so. Yeah.
Custom.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you could take your custom plays. And your roster, and you can put them into the arcade and like download them. Yeah. And it used to be, I think they'd give you like a football card or something like that. I don't know if that ever came to fruition.
I just think that's hilarious. There's like one kid in New Jersey who actually did that, and all the machines had it, and I bet nobody ever really used it, but it is awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know anybody that ever would use it.
I mean, it's like the Neo Geo. Neo Geos have a slot, for your home console and the arcade. For you to put your memory card, but it's the arcade game, so you're basically just putting your high score memory, from one machine to the other on most games. But it kind of puts me. It wasn't the first arcade to ever do that, but it is kind of funny that it does it.
Yeah, there weren't. It's funny because back then too, like our local team were the Kansas City Chiefs, and there wasn't. I think Gerbach was like right at the first year, but beyond that, like we had some pretty terrible.
Well, I think Tony G's
players.
in this game.
The late one, sure. Yeah, no.
Tony Gonzalez. Yeah, he was pretty good in this game.
Yeah.
But other than that.
Who's, and who, I'll let you, because I know you know cards and sports, the cover athlete.
Oh, of NFL Blitz?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's Cordell Stewart.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah, it is Cordell Stewart. Wow.
Number 10
that's
coming
right.
out. He doesn't stay and he doesn't show because it shows him.
Yeah,
in
it
the
just
police.
says 10. Yeah,
I didn't realize that's who it was, but he's wearing
It's
a Steelers
his exact
jersey.
likeness. I can't believe we didn't pick that out. Yeah.
So if you guys don't know what's funny, again, I'm just weird because I love sports games. Cordell Stewart was also the cover for NFL 97, which is the same year. It's one of the rare times where you had 2 different games, not exclusive rights, because Cordell was the guy back.
Oh yeah,
back
no,
in
he
the-
was running back, receiver,
Yeah.
quarterback.
His name was Slash.
Everything.
He was
Yeah.
more of a spectacle than like one of the great at anything. I
Yeah.
should say.
Yeah, he
he
was
like
he
took
was
the
fun to
world by
watch.
storm
Though.
for a
I
while.
remember watching football back in the day and watching him play. Like, because that was the thing. Like every play, the announcers would be like, "Where's Cordell Stewart?" And
Yeah.
he would be over here, and then he'd be over there. I think he even used to line up as a tight end sometimes.
Sure.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, they would just do stupid stuff with him just because it was kind of like a funny thing or maybe it was a marketing strategy. I don't know.
He was a gadget guy. It was
Catch people off guard.
what I think was if they did not make a home port of this game, I think the lore of that arcade would be in the echelons of arcades because this game is so good, but the home version is like 95% of what
it's
the
really
arcade
good.
was.
I mean,
it's so good.
I know that the arcade, the animation's a little bit smoother and the polygons are
Sure.
a little bit sharper, than the N64 version,
Sound,
but it's pretty much all there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as a multiplayer game, this is really one of the upper echelons because playing against a computer, it's fun and all, but you can learn kind of tricks. Just like even in Madden nowadays, how people find their couple plays that just seem to work every single time. They just run it over and over again.
Yeah, and you can hop in on the fly. Like even it says press start,
Yeah,
just like you're in the arcade.
Yep, no, it's a lot of fun, and I remember playing this when I was probably like 17, and then I played it again when I was like 25.
Yeah.
Like it just still holds up.
I don't know, man. Midway was killing it with these kind of games back then. I mean, between NHL Hits, Wayne Gretzky 3D Hockey.
Yeah, I loved Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
And NHL. If you're listening
Yeah,
and you
NHL
knew,
Hits is really good.
there's probably a lot of casuals who listen that know like NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, but don't sleep
College
on
hoops.
Yeah, but don't sleep on NFL Blitz like you were saying. NHL Hits.
Yeah, NHL Hits is
Yeah.
kind of like the underappreciated cousin of this
A lot
game,
of
but
people,
it's
still cheap to pick
it's
up.
awesome. Yeah, it's so good.
It's the hockey version of this. Shall I read the back of the box? All right. If you're
Sure.
scrolling through the old arcade and you're like, hey, what's this in the front? And you can't tell. The #1 arcade hit comes home. Leave reality behind. You won't want to play this kind of football anywhere else. NFL Blitz is NFL at its finest. That's so funny. They couldn't get away. This is pre-concussion. Like they don't. You can't.
Yeah,
do
this
this
is definitely
stuff anymore.
pre-concussion. Yeah. Yeah.
Featuring easy-to-run plays and unparalleled action, all in breakneck speed. I mean, just that pun right there. Like, yeah, break your neck. Like, who remember having 94?
It's before people cared about their kids.
I guess, yeah. With no penalties, no substitutions, and nowhere to hide, NFL Blitz is more than a game. It's an NFL highlight film. Yeah, it's an elephant on
highlight
your
film.
face.
What?
Fastest football gameplay ever with easy-to-learn arcade play and simple point-and-shoot passing. In season mode, you can play out the real 98 NFL schedule. You might play in rain, snow, mud, and forget about those night games. Yeah, forget about those night games. Like, you would want to play in those night games. The play editor allows you to save all your favorite plays to a control pack, just in case you've taken too many hits and can't quite remember them. Whoa! That's interesting.
Yeah, they're actually playing up the concussion.
Dude, they gave a concussion joke on the back of this.
So they even knew it back then.
Yeah, exactly. Lawsuit Exhibit A.
Yeah, so it goes on to say, secret players, tons of power-ups, and wild camera action will keep your adrenaline pumping. Check this out. Bring your edited plays into local arcades to use on Blitz 99, subject to availability. And then one quote from one Cordell Stewart. With bone-crushing tackles and spectacular catches, there is no other football game like NFL Blitz. I love this game. I feel like Cordell
now
wouldn't
give
have
me my
said that,
check.
but-
I think someone.
No, he probably never played it.
I think someone actually might
Now
have
give me-
written that for Cordell Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slid him a card, absolutely.
Yeah, he's like, this game is wicked awesome. And that would have been
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
But yeah, not a ton to say about this game outside if you haven't played it before, which maybe some people haven't. This is definitely a game like you can pick up and play. You can definitely play this one with your kids.
Yeah, this was actually my favorite football game after like the Tecmo Bowl games. Like
Yeah.
I didn't play any football between that and this, and I only played this until NFL 2K on Dreamcast.
Yeah, those are great. This one, I think for me, I love the reason why it's not in the upper echelon football for me, because I played so many of the Maddens. I played NFL Quarterback Club. The 2K games, as you pointed out, were phenomenal. I loved Blitz the League that came out later, for Xbox. And those games, though, are really hardcore. They have you taking steroids. They have they have testicles like bursting. They have your spine breaking. They really. What was that movie that was kind of a parody of the NFL, but it took itself really seriously and dark? It was like a Friday night. It had Al Pacino as a coach.
Yeah,
Sunday.
Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday. Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Okay, so if you've seen Any Given Sunday, they made that into a video
I like that
game.
movie.
Yeah, that movie's like really intense.
Yeah, that's Blitz the League. Like that game, injuries would make I would hate to get hit in that game because they would zoom in like Sniper Elite and show but you could be
like Mortal Kombat 11 style.
Juice yourself up with roids and cortisol shots to get out there, but you risk it and then you'll get injured way more.
Mark McGuire's a playable character.
Oh, it was relentless. So outside of check and see, I'm not sure if you can still download NFL Blitz for the 2012 version for 360, and but also if you have PlayStation Plus, go see if you can rebuy it. I'd say if you're playing this one, 2001, it kind of doesn't matter which one you pick up for any of the systems. The handheld ones, just as a heads up, don't play very well. They don't play the same.
No.
So you'd want to go 64, PlayStation, or Dreamcast. And then I haven't played any of the later ones right before they died, like Blitz Pro or anything like that.
Yeah, and just before I forget, I've got the prices up here too.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Blitz is $18.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
$17.50.
Yeah, for a loose cart. Yeah,
that's nostalgia talking, because forever that was a $7, $8
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So it's still not too much.
People are recognizing.
Yeah. Luckily they made a lot of them. Definitely pick it up, add it to your library if that sounds like your sort of thing, or you want another party game to play that's atypical, especially as a sports game. Like I said, anybody can play it. What do we say about Baby Bottle? Let's go to Michael. Since Michael, this was your pick.
I'm gonna go 4.5 for me. I think it's in the top tier sports game.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Sean.
I'm at 4 baby bottles. Football, aside from video games, is my favorite pastime, so I actually probably don't love the arcadiness quite as much as other people, but this is still one of my favorite games to play on those systems.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4.5.
Yeah, I'm also going to, for 64, just because I played the Dreamcast like crazy, I'm going to say 4, just because I love the Dreamcast version a little bit more, but I'd say I love that after the play you can still hit, and they don't make games like this anymore.
No, man.
Even the sub tier football, there's a Doug Flutie maximum football game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Everything in sports
anymore.
games now is just so much realism, and it's
yeah.
I just wish
especially with the licensing too.
Yeah.
There's no way that they would.
No.
This
There's
now.
no way.
They wouldn't even. The
NFL
wouldn't even,
would not sign off on this. Now, if we got a game like this now, it would be like Arena Football League endorsed or something.
Absolutely, the XFL coming back here, the opportunity.
The fact that I just read the back of the box made a joke about not remembering.
Yeah, NFL would nix that pretty quick.
Yeah,
I think they would have to at this point.
Yeah.
My favorite part about this game actually is
they'd be like, well, you can make the game, you just can't make this game.
My favorite part about this game, I spend a lot of times, I love playbook editors. I don't know why, and finding out what cheeses work on opponents, especially playing the computer. So I probably spent a good hour just making pass plays where I stacked my receivers to the left side and would have one run at deep post, and then I spent a lot of time just rolling my quarterback out and jumping out of bounds to prevent fumbles. So
yeah, I used to run that play da bomb all the time.
Da bomb,
da bomb, yeah,
that's what it's called. And,
I would just play entire games.
Two guys goes right, and one guy kind of drags over the middle deep.
And so that would be. I had 5 iterations of that play where it was just one receiver running a slightly different route, a deeper post or a shorter drag.
Yeah, that one's Sub-Zero, because Sub-Zero I could throw to the wideout to the right to have him back up, have all my defense go, and then my guy slanting would be wide open.
That was a solid short play.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then Suicide as well. I think that's another one on there too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I can also remember when I played multiplayer a lot, we had to hide. I don't remember what it's up, down, or It's something like that, and it hides your circle, so they can't see. Or I think later versions you could like hold it down and keep moving it, and whichever one you hit first.
Yes.
There was also
there's
also some trick when you're picking plays. I'm trying to remember how it works. But when you're picking plays, you can make it where it doesn't show which play you're picking or something. Or
I remember we had to do that with friends because people used to cheat.
We'd be like, "Stop looking at my play."
That's why I love the Dreamcast version, because your play would be on your VMU on your thing. So
that is kind of cool. Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, the many things that get lost over the years. Why like Dreamcast is so awesome. All right, well, those are our Video Game Book Club picks for this episode. Here's our next ones coming up. Okay, and for next episode 66, we have a dad pick, and it is Sean's turn. Sean, we'll let you go before I tell you what the randomizer was for our listeners. Real quick, though, before Sean speaks, if you'd like to submit a game to our Video Game Book Club, all you have to do is email us, message us on any one of our System Alley Guide. Someone message us from Instagram. Just tell us a game you'd like to get put in. They just need to not be in the top 15% of whatever library. You can pick whatever library you want, and then maybe someday, eventually, it will get picked, and then we'll talk about it on the show. All right, Sean, our dad pick. What do you got?
One I think nobody ever really talks about anymore, and I'm in the mood for nostalgic racing. Let's play Kinetica for the PlayStation 2.
Kinetica. Okay,
All
and that's,
right.
if you guys are playing at home, it's spelled Kinetica, I think. It's got kind of a futuristic look. I am happy you picked that. I played this back in the day. I played this back in college. It's a random game that I don't even think they ever made a sequel to.
I feel like I haven't even thought about this game in a decade.
Yeah, I don't think they did. Although I feel like since it's episode 66, we missed the opportunity to pick Devil's Crush.
Ooh, yeah, that would have been fun.
Yeah, we missed it. We missed the opportunity. You're right. Anyway, okay, so Kinetica is going to be the dad pick, and then our listener pick, drum roll. The one that came out is Low G Man for the NES. All right, this was submitted by, I believe, Billy. Billy submitted this. I think
Billy.
Good old Billy.
In 2018. So Billy's been waiting 4 years to get this one picked.
We'll get there eventually, Billy.
But Low G Man for the NES and Kinetica for the PlayStation 2 are our Video Game Book Club picks for episode 66. All right, it's that time again. The water's turning red. There's a cello in the background.
There's some lady in a white bathing suit.
Steven Spielberg doesn't have gray hair. The guy from Mr. Holland's Opus. It's that time.
Hey, Richard Dreyfuss is really worked up about something.
Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
All right, it's that time for Grayson's
Game Shark. Hey, bub.
Hey, Grayson, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Join us with your presence. You were playing a bit of that Egret again, that thing we talked about last episode, that fun little arcade thing. You still playing that puzzle bubble thing again?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's getting to be warm and summery. I hear you're still you're playing a game recently. I heard through the grapevine you're playing a Lego game. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which one?
Lego The Incredibles.
The Incredibles, like the movie The Incredibles, huh?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I played that with my son for a little bit, but he's a little too young to play it because you need two people to play well, right? Or know what you're doing, like co-op. Did you? How much of it did you play?
Pretty much like all of it, but I haven't got like all the stuff yet.
Do you play by yourself or with your dad?
By myself.
Oh, and by all the stuff, you mean like all the extras and all the
like the collectibles?
Yeah.
The characters. Who's your favorite character to play as?
Dash.
Dash. No.
Nice.
Yep.
And in the Lego Incredibles game, this might be a little spoiler.
Go ahead.
But,
it's okay.
You can go to Edna's house.
Oh, Edna. Wait, what is her voice? Edna, darling. There we go. Edna. You need a better outfit. Edna will help you. Oh my God. That girl? right?
Yeah. So like when you go to her house, when you go inside, you can like make a character, and I've made 2.
Oh, have you?
Very nice.
Nice.
And one of them is named Animal Boy.
Animal Boy.
Because he has like animal superpowers.
Oh,
Very nice.
Oh, is that what you want to be? Like if you
do you have animal superpowers? I think you might have some of your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? Like like lifting your leg around a fire hydrant. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. What's your animal superpower?
Yeah.
Strength.
Strength. Okay.
All right.
All right.
What's the other character you made? I was like thinking, did you make your dad? Did you make your sister? No.
The other one's called Water Girl.
Oh, okay.
She has like water superpowers.
Okay.
Nice.
That's awesome. Who would that be? Like, is there a water superhero person? Aquaman.
I mean, yeah, Aquaman's the only one that comes to mind. But...
Oh, Namora. Right. Yeah, she's right now on trial.
Yeah, she's not doing so well.
She's not doing so well.
Yeah, things have not been good.
Yeah, I heard she's not house trained. Luckily, you don't need to watch any of that stuff.
Yeah,
It's boring adult stuff. Captain Jack Sparrow and Aquawoman are in court right now in real life. So anyway, segueing back to your Lego game. I love it because like even the kids listen like, what is this kid talking about? What are you talking about? I don't know. So the other thing I was gonna say is like, so are you playing that on Switch?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're playing it by yourself. You're not playing it with anybody else.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's been your bedtime game.
Awesome.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, because I tried to play it with Sebastian. That was a mistake because you need 2 people to work together. So you're like AI companion. I haven't even gotten past Mole Man. That's at the beginning. The guy that with the drill.
Oh, you mean the Underminer?
Yes, you're right. The Underminer. That's right. He has a different. He
Yeah,
has a different
Underminer,
pun.
Ben.
Duh.
Yeah. He has a different pun of a name. That's a great name. And no one gets the Underminer. Yeah. I don't know.
It
I
just
love
makes you want to trust him, you know?
Yeah. The Underminer sounds like a guy that can't go within 500 feet of a school.
That's
for
what
sure.
I'm thinking, too.
I just love Edna's in the dang game. Can you play as Edna?
Yes.
Are you kidding? She's like, oh, it's Egyptian cotton. It breathes so well. Like that lady? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It was originally voiced by the director, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anyway, I know weird, stupid Pixar trivia.
And you can also, so you can, in the game, you can unlock 2 of them.
Yeah?
Like, one of them is called Edna Mode, and I think the other one's called the same thing.
Okay, and is there any difference between the 2 of them? Their outfit, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so of your Lego games, so I actually have been collecting the Lego games with the anticipation of playing them with my kids, my son or daughter or both, when they get older, because who knows if they're going to be around. They're already changing the new Skywalker game. I heard is wonderful.
I actually kind of want to play that.
Yeah, and what's funny is kids that were Grayson's age when the first ones came out are now older and playing with their kids. So it's the equivalent of like, Super Mario Galaxy had for us, or Super Mario Odyssey had for us for 64, which is like, again, makes me feel super old. But anyway, what's your favorite Lego? What I'm getting at is like, what's your favorite Lego game? Have you played more than this one? You played like the superhero ones, the Batman ones?
Yeah, you played a few of them. You played Ninjago, the Ninjago game?
Ninjago, yeah.
Or Ninjago. You played the Star Wars one, I think, over at Mimi and Papa's on the PlayStation, remember?
They have Lord of the
Yeah.
of the Rings. They've got a ton of them.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potters, yes. Multiple.
And on the 3DS, I do have Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, and Hobbit, I think, even. Yeah, they have a ton.
Yeah, which one's your favorite?
Yeah, well,
I got money on Incredibles.
okay, yeah.
Lego The Incredibles.
Ah,
Yes.
all right.
Pay me.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's always the most recent one.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome.
That's the key.
Yep.
Yeah.
I picked that up already.
Yeah,
So,
the reason I like it is because it has a lot of action.
Yeah.
And, like, the number 1 games I like is with action.
yeah. Hey, switching gears a little bit. Did you go somewhere cool this last weekend?
Yeah.
Where was that?
Worlds of Fun.
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Very nice.
So that's a local amusement park for those who don't know.
I've actually never been before.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Shut up.
I really
Okay.
haven't.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Never?
No, ever. We took the
Wow.
camper, and there's like an RV park next to it. So we RV parked next to the thing, and then went to it for a
nice.
day. It was like how hot was it on Saturday? Like it was like 1,000,000 degrees, wasn't it?
Did you go on Fury of the Nile? It's where there's like 5 people in a tube.
Yeah,
and you
it
go
was
down
so,
like
it was
a
so
river.
busy that lines were all over an hour.
really?
I mean, yeah, we didn't actually get to end up doing all that much, but we did remember the roller coaster we rode.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Timberwolf.
Yeah, the
Oh,
old
Timberwolf is-
Timberwolf, yeah.
Yeah, the old wooden roller coaster.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Did it make you? Did it give you a neck ache?
No, but it did hurt my head a lot.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
You go
Shakes
pretty
you a
fast on that
lot.
one.
It's yeah. I was telling him before we got on. I was like, no, this is going to be really janky and like
Yeah.
really kind of rough. And he's like, oh yeah, we're good.
The
and everything.
Timberwolf, I think, was created in 1992. So every year that goes by with the... Did you go to the Prowler? The Prowler's the other wooden one that's...
No, we just did
I
that
love
one, and then we
it.
spent the rest of the time kind of over in because we had Indy, my 4-year-old, with us, and so we spent the rest of the time kind of in Snoopy's like kid Wonder World.
Oh,
show
and
area.
they're-
Snoopy's
Their
World.
kid world is good. I took Bash there once, and he really, really liked it. But did you ride the Mamba? That's such a good roller coaster.
I don't know. Did you end up riding that?
No. That was that ginormous roller.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Is it big?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Never mind. I've got them confused. Then
It was that one roller coaster we saw at the RV park.
was that the Mamba? Is that the really big one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tall.
Yeah. We didn't do any of the really big ones. Maybe next time when we're a little bit bigger, maybe it's not quite so crowded.
Yeah.
I'd say if you got through the Timberwolf, the Mamba's way more fun.
Oh
Like,
yeah. I
Timberwolf-
mean,
Yeah,
you know,
smoother.
those old wooden ones, man. You forget how janky they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Next time
But-
they have one called the Prowler. That's a wooden one that doesn't go very high, but
Mm-hmm.
it turns a lot, and it's not. It's only been around for I think like 8 years, so it's not going to be janky yet. But yeah. They used to have the Orient Express.
I still really like that one.
Yeah, and then now that's the Patriot. I think is the other one.
Mm.
Yeah, man, it's fun. They got bumper cars. Worlds of Fun is I have a lot of nostalgia for that. That was my park growing up.
Yeah, so that was our big deal over the weekend. Indy she's like a Pee-wee cheerleader, so they had a cheerleading thing there with all the
Oh, okay.
peoples and all
Oh,
that kind of
it
stuff.
had to have been outside in the
Yeah,
pavilion.
I mean, it was. They were going to do a routine, but they ended up canceling and then doing it remotely, like the day prior, which I don't really fully understand. So we went to the cheerleading thing beforehand, but anywho, they were. So we were with like a big group. But
Huh. Awesome. All right. Well, are you? So you liked? What was your favorite thing about the amusement park there, Grayson?
Mm-hmm. Did you play any carnival games?
They've got
we did do we did a little bit of carnival games, but we did a Mario carnival game, didn't we?
Yeah. Mario Mystery Box.
Mario Mystery Box. Yeah, you pay them $6, then you get to open a box.
Oh, that's new.
Yeah,
And I got Mario.
Mario. Right? You got
Yeah.
a little plushie Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually
And
wasn't
then-
bad for $6.
I was gonna say that's
When we
not
got
terrible if
back-
that's what you
When we
got.
got back to our RV park, my grandparents got me another Mario and a Squishmallow. But I said I already got one, so they gave me like a 1-up mushroom.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah. No, we went to Worlds of Fun and got Mario stuff. Although I'm not sure that the Mario stuff at Worlds of Fun was like officially branded, if you get what I'm saying.
Right.
oh, really?
I don't know. It didn't. Yeah, they. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Right.
but
They
yeah,
were
I
like no
picked it up and
tags
I-
on anything.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Isn't Mario supposed to have a mustache?
Yeah,
Are his pants supposed to come off? No.
it's
yeah.
like Smario, or something. But-
Yeah, one of those where it's like when you watch YouTube videos and everybody's got like a weird accent and
It's
stuff.
like no,
I'm
it's not Mario. His eye is a little different,
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
Coming to America, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. McDowell's, right? Or McDonald? It wasn't.
I don't- yeah.
McDowell's. Yeah, God, Coming to America was so freaking good. Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's I don't know, man. That's a ton of fun. Do check out the arcade next time. They have an indoor air-conditioned arcade with a bunch of pinballs. That's
oh man,
why,
I should have found that.
yeah, like they usually get new Stern pinballs and no one plays them, and I don't know why they buy them, but like check that out next
It was
time.
it was like 95 degrees outside and not a cloud in the sky and like really really humid.
Oh yeah.
So I was rocking the SPF 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to. All right. Well, Grayson, you have anything else to say? Anything fun? You looking forward to anything? I know you and the fam are going on some vacations soon. No Disney World coming up anytime soon, right?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about vacations in
And
the
the
guy
trip
part.
we are going on soon is to Europe.
Whoa.
And then after that, we're going to take a few weeks back here and then go to Hawaii.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, you're going to have to report back. You're going to do some game hunting when you're there. See if you could pick up some European exclusives with your dad.
And the thought has crossed Dad's mind. Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of fun games over there. All right. Well, I'm sure you'll be bringing maybe a video game to play on the plane. I assume I'm saying that.
Yeah,
right.
it's a forever flight over there.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. Well, happy for you, excited. Thanks for joining. We're gonna have to make sure to get an update when you get back. All right, Grayson.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
All right, love you, bub.
See ya.
Bye.
It's me, Mario.
All right, guys. So something that's happening is the weather is getting warmer, and what I was thinking about we could talk about, and sometimes video games fall into this. It's like vacation time.
Mm-hmm.
And for me and my littles, I have my son is 5 years old. My daughter is very much a 2-year-old, and we've all kind of got the young kids here. It's like vacations. Vacations feel like different things nowadays. And if there's any listeners who have young kids, something that happens is vacations change. We've talked about this too. Vacations as an adult really aren't a vacation. They're just a lot more planning, except you don't have all the stuff at the ready anymore. But it's getting to be 'tis the season. Do you guys have any like standout vacation memories kind of as a kid?
Yeah. I was fortunate enough that my parents took us on a lot of vacations.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I can remember doing everything from Hilton Head to Florida and Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And I guess I never realized this, but my dad really liked fishing because he took us all the time fishing.
Huh, all right.
And so that's just something I always remember. I remember being blown away when we went to Mexico and we stayed in an all-inclusive hotel.
Oh, yeah.
That was just, oh, man, anything you wanted. You go to the buffet and just eat French fries all day and stuff like that.
You were spoiled early on. I never did the all-inclusive thing till I got married. Wife and I did Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, very
and
nice.
then we did that, and of course then you get to drink and stuff. And yes, that was amazing. So I imagine as a kid.
Yeah. And then like once I got a little older to 18, that was like one of the first times I ever kind of got to drink a little bit, like more than a few beers, like
Can
legally.
You're 18 down there. I mean,
Yeah.
When I was 18, then we went down there. Up here it's frowned upon for an 18-year-old to drink, but down there they don't care. They'll serve you. So but going to like the discos that we had at our hotel, it was just like felt like you were at a bar at 18 and taking shots of tequila. And I might have passed out in like one of those like lounge chairs out by the pool and like got knocked on by one of the staff to like go back to my room. But like,
but that's okay.
But that was part of the fun. And if you felt like you were in kind of a safer place, so than like out in public.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Like, I didn't. My mom and I, I kind of grew up with single mom. Didn't do the fish. Like, it's funny. I didn't know how to. I didn't fish until I was like older. So, but I also felt like I didn't miss out on anything because as a kid, I saw it as something like it's maybe a little boring or something like that. But what I remember was my original Game Boy. I took that thing everywhere, and I had my Game Gear, but I always had to have it umbilical to the wall.
Yeah.
So the Game Boy was like my road trip thing, and that's probably why the handheld hollow, why I'm such a big fan, and why I always feel bad for people who never grew up with handhelds, and they're always like, parents never got me one. I was like, you guys missed out. But also, you don't have the nostalgia, you don't have to spend the money on these things anymore. But I think the Switch blurs that line now. Like, kids are gonna be pretty nostalgic for this system, I think, growing up. But like, anytime you're in the car, and I feel like people drove, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like we drove everywhere for the most part.
Yeah, that's where we were when I was a kid.
Didn't do a lot of planes unless Florida was like a little too long, so we definitely flew when we went there. But I didn't do Disney till I was in 7th grade.
I've never been to Disney.
Oh, like ever?
Ever.
Me
My
neither,
parents,
actually, yeah.
My parents always played it off on me and my brother, like Josh is too young, and then he's like, "Oh, you're too old for it." And I think they just
That's
didn't.
right.
Later, I found out they just didn't want to go.
They didn't want to take out another mortgage.
Yeah,
It's expensive for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did like Lake of the Ozarks for like small trips, and then they would kind of every like 2 or 3 years we'd go to like Florida or Mexico or somewhere like that.
That's kind of the way we did. Most of my vacation memories from when I was a kid they're kind of an amalgamation of lake trips for the most part. Because I grew up in Oklahoma, and for those that don't know, at least the eastern half of the state, it's kind of like Missouri. It's just lakes everywhere. So we had a camper and we just went to the lake.
Yeah,
the vast majority of the time. So we'd swim or go fishing, or we didn't have a boat, but I had relatives with boats.
Yeah,
and so
that's usually. I had a friend with a boat. Always,
yeah. So we never had to buy a boat because usually one of our relatives would come out and they would have one. So probably the things I remember the most is when my brothers were still pretty young and I was a little bit older, maybe my teenage years, is we would take the pontoon out into the middle of the lake and we'd stay out we would camp on the pontoon. Like we would we would sleep during the day and then we'd stay up all night fishing.
That's awesome.
And we would just fish and fish and fish like all night long every night. And we'd fish till like, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the morning, and then take a little nap on the boat, and then go back in the morning and sleep the rest of the morning, and that was kind of how that went. So that was always a lot of fun. And then there's always like landmarks of different things that we found. I remember one of the more interesting things I did on one of those trips is I happened to find a cave just in the side of a hill. Like it was just this little opening that was only like a foot or two wide.
Interesting. And
I went down in it.
Ooh.
And it was actually like a really big cave. Like I probably went 100 yards into this thing, like these little crevices and stuff. And but that always, I always remember that just because it was kind of scary,
Could you find that cave if you had to again?
Maybe it was near Lake Uchi in Jay, Oklahoma. So, there can't be too many highways out there, but it was along the side of a highway near the lake.
They missed out if you had a CH before that. Anyway, go ahead.
but no, I mean, I don't know. But that's the ones I remember. I mean, I actually did go to Disney World though, but I was only 6, so I kind of have this smattering of like broken memories from it.
Yeah.
I remember going to Epcot Center and they had a Michael Jackson dancing like robot that did the moonwalk.
Oh.
And it was like the future technology look. They could make Michael Jackson robots, So I remember that. I remember they had a ride. It was like Space Shuttle, or maybe it was Apollo launch. And there was a big screen on the floor, and you sat in these chairs, and they like vibrated like the rocket takeoff. So it was a simulation of being on the rocket during takeoff.
In Epcot, right?
Yeah, I think it was in Epcot.
Wasn't that called Spaceship Earth or something?
Yeah, well, there is one that's still there.
Yes, maybe it's different.
Yeah, that's a ride, but this was like just a circular room, and like I said, the floor was like you were looking down from a rocket taking off, watching the ground go away.
They didn't have any G forces with it, did it?
Not really. I remember the whole room just kind of shook, and it was really loud and stuff. And some of that is you don't really know what your little brain was doing with the sensations you were getting at the time. Like I don't really know if it really was shaking or if it was all just from the speakers, and all the noise.
Yeah.
And I remember a ride too that doesn't exist anymore. That was like these chairs that I don't know, 8 or 10 of them wide. And they went through like this jungle, and there were animatronic dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
That went over, and I don't even know what it was called, but I remember thinking that was really, really neat. And and then there was all the various other things, Small World, things that people kind of typically think of. But I remember specifically there was this garden that you would go through, and it had these sort of lily pad things. I think some of this is still there, but it would shoot little drops of water from one lily pad to the other in these little fountains.
Oh, yeah, it's still there. I know what you're talking
about. Yeah, I think that they've improved on it.
That was Epcot, right?
I believe it was Epcot. But because we were there with my kids just a couple of years ago, and I remember some of that stuff still being there, but I remember just being mesmerized because they'd shoot these little like pearls of water, and they would land in the other spigot, basically, on the other side.
Would shoot it and time it. Yeah, that's Epcot right by... So Epcot used to do expos right in front of that. So they had this like it's called on YouTube. It's called Defunct Land, and this guy's from Kansas City as well. Except like a lot of people from Kansas City, you don't know their name, you don't know their whatever. He has a PO box, but I do recognize that he's said before in his videos. So if you ever check out the YouTube video Defunct Land, he constantly talks about either old TV shows or old attractions and their history, and gets like videos together. And one of them Disney was very big on video games, and like if they didn't have E3 Expo, they've got their own that was in that Epcot Center, right in that building. I forget what they call it. They call it like D3, I think, D instead of E3 or something. But yeah, I remember that too. That was the one time I went before I went with my wife.
Well, they had that old World of Tomorrow thing going on, you know.
Of course, yeah. Epcot was supposed to be. I mean, his original vision was he wanted it to be a living, breathing city, and Epcot was the center of it. Like he wanted Disney to actually have its own like government and everything. Like he wanted people that work there, live there, had their own rules, had their own houses, schools, and everything. And Epcot was his like initial dream. And then they kind of realized, oh, let's just turn it into kind of like a world theme park, and then adults can have like wine tastings, and stuff like that. But oh, that's interesting. I was while you were talking, I was thinking like, oh yeah, you know what I loved too? Like we didn't have much money growing up, so I didn't do any kind of fancy. When you're a kid, man, a vacation anywhere is awesome. I always thought.
Oh, I remember thinking like going 2 or 3 miles from the house. It might have well have been going to China. You know, I mean, it was like, oh my God, we're gonna be in the car for how long? 3 hours? Whoa.
Yeah,
you know, like,
Motel 6, Super 8.
Oh yeah, we stayed in some hotels,
awesome.
especially with my grandparents. Like my grandpa, he took us to because we would take vacations with my grandparents too. And my grandparents were always like cheapest hotel possible.
Yep.
You know, that was the whole thing.
$24.99.
And whenever you're a kid, you don't realize how trashy some of the places you. But now that I've gotten older, I think back to some of the hotels I stayed at with like my grandparents, and I'm like, oh yeah, we should not probably have been there.
Yeah, but it was so fun. Like I think I've said on the podcast recently, I took my son to St. Louis once that St. Louis con got defunct by those women playing bridge or playing cornhole.
Our convention got canceled for cornhole.
So I took my son and we went to the pool and everything, and just being in the hotel, like he was just so animated and excited. I kind of can't wait till he actually, we do something. We're actually going soon. This next weekend, we're going to Springfield or Topeka. God, those are two very different places. I should know.
They're basically the same thing.
Springfield, honestly.
Yeah, I actually think it's Topeka. So Topeka has a museum and also a zoo that our zoo membership here, because we have a membership at the Kansas City Zoo, it evidently unlocks memberships to 10 other things.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And if you're
we do that too.
If you live in,
is there a secret handshake?
If you live in Jackson County, the zoo membership is pretty inexpensive.
It's not if you live in my county.
Yeah,
double the price.
Yeah, it's like at least double. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it gets us in the trains, the tram, and also the SkyRail thing, and vouchers for whatever the heck. So we started to do that again now that the kids are older. But of course, it's hot as heck. But anyway, we're gonna do that. Go to the zoo. I think got an Airbnb and just do that for a couple days. But what's great is the kids are so small, it kind of doesn't matter where we're going. Eventually, it'll be fun to go on like actual real full vacations. But you know what I was getting at? Do you guys know what I miss? Those Nintendo 64 LodgeNet TV controllers.
Those were awesome. Yeah, I hadn't thought about those in a while.
When they had the video game in your hotel and you could pay $4.99 an hour or $3.99 an hour to play, and you could like pick which game you want.
It was basically the Sega Channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
except for Nintendo.
You had Mario. I remember Wave Race. You only could pick from 4 or 5.
Yeah, there was a handful. Yeah.
It was 4 or 5 games, and definitely, I need to remember what the other 2 are. You can still find these controllers.
There was a guy selling a bunch of them on a Facebook group 6 or 8 months back.
I begged so hard every time we hit a hotel. I lost every time, but I begged so hard.
To be able to play.
Yeah, my parents weren't doing that.
Yeah, I was like, I'll give you the money back. They're like, that's
I mean, I don't know if it was a North American thing, side tangent, but they had a similar thing that was a Neo Geo apparatus that they put in some hotel rooms, but I think they were over in Asia, and they're worth like $30,000 a piece. They're super expensive, but side tangent over.
The LodgeNet controllers, because they're worthless, you can't play them without, like, you can find these on eBay, but they're basically Nintendo 64 controllers that were meant for
they plugged into a little box on the TV or whatever.
Yeah, so LODGENET, if you Google that, you'll see it, and maybe it'll spark your nostalgia. They used to be all day. You can get them 30, 40, $50, but now I think they're closer to 100 or something, which is kind of pricey for just a weird.
There was that N64 Q thing in China that's basically a controller too.
That's very expensive.
That's got built-in games. But that's off topic, I suppose. Sean, what kind of vacations you take? Do you remember any?
I didn't board a plane until I was like 23 years old, so needless to say, all of our vacations were driving distance. But my favorite one, personally, is in '98. We went to St. Louis, where I rode my first big boy coaster, and I got to go to a Cardinals game and watch Mark McGwire hit number like 42,
Very nice.
I think, in Busch Stadium. And then I liked the Arch, too, like as a kid. But otherwise it was all driving distance stuff and me facing out the rear of the Ford station wagon.
Oh, we had the station wagon too.
Yeah.
We used to sit on top of a gas tank.
Yeah.
Facing backwards, or every time you were at a stoplight or whatever, it was like, I might die at this one.
Yeah. Ours was a Ford Taurus specifically.
Oh, I know that.
No, we had the Chevy Classic with the wood grain stickers.
We had a Mercury Sable.
Nice.
So same thing as basically the Ford Taurus and a Mercury.
Yeah.
My buddy had the Ford Taurus one too, and I loved riding in the back of that. Was it dark blue?
No, ours was it was like that just nasty tannish brown that was everywhere in the late 80s.
That's what all the station wagons were there for a while.
But it was a solid color. It didn't have a six strip or anything. But I didn't have handheld games at the time, except for we did have one of those like generic like 100 games in one or whatever. But it did have really solid versions of Tetris. Combat, like it wasn't called that, but it was Combat. It was Tetris, and then like a racing game where it was literally just like a reflex left right.
Dude, I had Tiger handhelds. That's it. Yeah,
mine at least. I mean, it's Tiger handheld, but it at least had like 100 different games in it, and some of them were recognizable to me. So I played a lot of that.
Actually, I'm supposed to go, or I ain't supposed to. I'm going on vacation here at the beginning of June, and we're going to Mexico. My in-laws are taking us essentially for their like 40th wedding anniversary, and one of those. And at first I was excited, but now like I realized with the kiddos,
holy cow,
1, 3, and 5. So
Mexico.
So first I was like, oh, it's great, thanks, you're taking us. And then my second thought was like, do I have to bring 3 car seats? And do I have to bring a stroller?
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I going to carry all this stuff? And
it gets interesting.
They put them on the tarmac.
We've been a lot of places with my kids, and
but just how am I going to take them from the car up to the front? I guess I'm going to have to drop them off. I'm going to have to drop them off and then take them out, and then
you bring them onto the Skydeck plane thing, and then take them.
I was going to say, I'm going to have to check them in from the outside or something. I don't know, but even then, from what about the airport to the?
I've carried car seats into the airplanes before, actually, put them in the airplane seats, and all that stuff. We bought these little. Like caddies, how your suitcases now, they all have the retractable handle on them.
Yeah.
But they're basically these retractable handles that are on these caddies, and you can strap the car seat on them. So you put your kid in the car seat, and then you drag them around the airport like they're a bag.
Yeah. Huh.
It's actually pretty ingenious, but that's how we always did it. We just would check the bags, and then we would just run around the airports with our kids on these little caddies, pulling them along like those suitcases on their car seats.
So some places, if you
that's my dad tip.
Yeah, that's a good tip. If you go to a place like Florida, you can actually rent car seats that are like up to snuff through like Uber, and there's certain services in major metropolitan cities that people visit.
Yeah.
But if you are going to Mexico, I'm going to assume that car seats maybe aren't something that
it's weird. If you're going to a regular vacation place, though, another dad tip. Again, a major metropolitan area or a popular vacation spot, there usually is a mobile delivery service that will bring you car seats and baby beds or pack and plays.
Yeah.
And so just get online and find them, and it's usually like a per diem rental, or sometimes it's like a week-long rental. Yeah. And it's like super easy. You just say, hey, we're going to be at X address, and then they'll just come by, drop it off, and you don't have to think about it.
So about 3 years ago, we only had one kid. We were in Atlanta visiting my brother-in-law, and I bought a pack and play off Facebook Marketplace in Atlanta for $25, and then I just left it there.
I joke with my wife. I
threw it in the dumpster
I'm not
as soon as we left, but it was the cheapest option that I could think of, and it worked.
Between my 2 kids, I have probably bought 8 pack and plays for exactly the same reason. Like either that wasn't the service wasn't available, that we were someplace that didn't.
She brought our own pad and cover. And
I would just go to Walmart.
Bought the pack and play.
Yeah, I would go to Walmart, buy the
our cover back.
Yeah, cheapest one they have.
That was my second option.
That's smart, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because lugging that thing along with the car seats and everything else, it's just like in the strollers, and it's just a pain.
No, man, the kids have to have like this whole ecosystem.
Yeah,
That's why I don't. That's
you.
why I don't want to go on a plane with them. Like, you know, it kind of, like you were saying earlier, it's kind of messed up with Bash, because since Bastion's 5, we could go places now, but not with a 2-year-old right now. So, you know, we're
Yeah, I've done it. We took Indy to Jamaica when she was like 18 months, maybe.
Yeah, but you
That's
know,
about
you
what I'm doing.
and Casey are not. You know, people are built differently. My wife is not going to let that fly. You guys could just be like, we'll figure it out or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It actually worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we I always tell my son, like, he's pretty well traveled for his age.
Yeah.
Better than he thinks he is. But
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, my biggest fear is that one of us is going to get COVID when we're down there, and
not be able to get back.
To go
It's
into
actually-
Mexico, they don't care.
it's
they
actually
don't
much
test
harder
you,
to get correct.
But as soon as you need to take a test the day before your
yeah,
flight,
you have to be within 24 hours.
So
Yeah.
that's the one I'm like keeping my fingers crossed. Luckily, while we're there, we're going to be outside most of the time. I guess there's some restaurants that will be inside, but you know, good percentage of the time we'll be outside.
Yeah.
Hopefully, as long as it doesn't rain, I guess.
Yeah, and then worst case scenario, you're at an all-inclusive restaurant.
Yeah,
The days will go by fast if you know what to drink.
that's true.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's interesting. I will say, you know, there's a lot of new parents, first-time parents. Definitely walk before you run. Like, to say I haven't gone on any vacations, you know, we've driven to Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely go on vacations like you're kind of lame wherever you live in. Like, you know, go somewhere that's just like an hour away, 2 hours away. You don't need a lot to entertain the kids, but
yeah.
don't go if you're really looking forward to relaxing.
Well, this last Thanksgiving / Christmas, we decided that rather than buying ourselves, you know, stuff we don't want, we would just save our money and go on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cheap because of, you know, all the COVID stuff. But we, but like last, what was that, September, November? I guess it was November. We went on a cruise in the Caribbean, and we took the kids on that, and that was great because there's like kid stuff on there.
That's awesome. Okay, I didn't.
And we actually drove down there. We just drove to Galveston.
Maybe I
and did it.
forgot about that, because I should ask you about that. That's something that's been
We try to take
and
one big vacation a year, essentially. So that was kind of it. And we were like, hey, you know, we can all sit around buying each other presents, or we can just save our money and go on a trip. And so we just took a big family trip all together.
No, that's good to know, because the cruise thing is something we've thought about, and I always remember. I just heard Disney does cruises like amazingly
They do, but
well.
they're like 3 times as much as everybody else, though.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. But they're ones where you literally, if you don't want to even look at your kids for a week,
Oh yeah, yeah. You can just be like, go there.
Yeah, they have these whole like sectioned off areas with all these special people that take care of it. So and you know, then the kids have fun. It's not like they're like.
Yeah, this last one we did was Royal Caribbean, and it was pretty nice. I had a good time. I've only been on 2 cruises ever. I went on one back when I was in college on Carnival. And then
The Walmart of the sea.
I thought at the time, but at the time I actually had a really good time, and it was very impressive to me back then.
Sure.
Royal Caribbean's kind of like mid-tier.
I agree.
I went on one of those. They were nice.
Yeah, it was
I
nice.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was nice.
I think we went to Alaska.
The thing that always
once.
impresses me on cruises, though, is because they bring, I don't mean this to sound elitist anyway, but they always bring people from all around the world to service the ship. So the people who serve the food, the people that clean the rooms, you know, they're from all over the place. And like on that last cruise, we had a guy from Nepal who was our waiter every night at dinner, and we got to know him really well. And he's a very, very nice, very humble guy. But all the staff, like I really like meeting the staff people on the cruise ships because they're from all over the place, and they're always super nice and super humble and just really happy to be there.
Huh.
You know, taking care of you and doing this thing because, you know, God knows where they're from. I mean, you know, or you know, or what they're going back to. A lot of them are supporting families back home and all that kind of thing. But I always find it really interesting to meet all these people who kind of like just work in our tourism industry, you know, down in that area. So
all on a random ship.
Yeah. So I don't know. Both of them, even the Carnival one that we went on, I still remember like crew members that I met and talked to, you know, for lengthy periods of time on both those trips. So I think actually seeing the people who work at those places is kind of cool.
That's interesting. So forever, a lifetime ago, I had like a performance background, and one of the small things I thought about doing was being like a performer on a cruise ship. And I had an opportunity. I have some friends who have done that. And I tell you, before Instagram was a thing on Facebook, their lives looked amazing because they stop at all the places. And of course, they're getting paid who knows what, and their quarters are really small. But all they do is work out all day and do live ships. And I mean, one of the guys I know, he was, let's just say he enjoyed being a single man, right? Had some testosterone. So he's a good looking guy. I don't know if it's a Chippendale show or whatever the heck he did, but I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is probably the most perfect job you have.
I thought that last time I was in Mexico too, because we did one of those little like excursion things where they were like, you pay to get on a little catamaran, and then they have drinks on it, and they take you to a little private beach and all the rest of it. And it's all these like 19-year-old, dudes from Mexico who are running these catamarans, just getting college girls drunk essentially, and taking them to a private beach. And I'm like, God, where was that on career day? Like nobody told me that there was stuff like this. I'm like, these guys have the best job in the universe.
I know. Wait, you're from this place and you have an accent? Like that's all you need, You're
already a leg up on everybody else. Plus, you get to just do this. So I thought, man, that's a pretty good job.
I know, and I'm sure there's downsides to it.
No, everything has its downside.
But
I don't know about that one. If you just get paid okay, just like.
But no, that I've always been real.
It's a good way to travel. Like, think of it as just even if you don't get paid much, like what a great way to like travel.
Sort of, but that was when we went on the carnival one, back in college days, and I was never really a drinker or anything, but. On the way to the catamaran, people were just bombing margaritas and stuff, and I looked at my wife and I was like, everybody is going to get sick, and so we went to the beach and everybody's at the beach and all this, and it's just a few hours, then it's time to go back, and these catamarans are not very big, so they're just all over, swishing around on these waves, and the way back. I think me and my wife are the only people that didn't throw up.
That's awesome.
I've never seen so much vomit in my life.
Situation.
It was my opinion on the whole thing, on that whole little like excursion, changed on the way back. So I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever been a part of. We were just throwing up all over the place.
I went on a deep sea fishing trip where like 90% of the people threw up.
Yeah,
and I was just watching people just like fall,
I was like, oh my,
left and right.
Yeah, we were just like dodging people, just trying to not step in stuff and everything else, and there was so much vomit on the way back.
I've been on one of those trips.
That's funny. There's all these fish following the boat, and it's
like, exactly like the shark fins, like.
Oh man, that's great. Well, anyway, hopefully you guys are taking some fun vacations. Let us know what you're doing, and I just think it's kind of neat to think about, like, hey, we've got this system. Even though PS5 is out, whatever, you still have like a cool portable system. Kids are gonna have memories with and things like that, and. Hopefully, you and your fam, whatever they are, you get to at least take some time off. Maybe it's also a staycation. There's nothing wrong with that.
Staycations are the best, man.
Yeah, staycations. The older you get, highly recommend.
Yeah, sometimes whenever I get a little bit of time off work, people are like, "Where are you going? What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "I want to be right here."
Oh yeah.
With any luck, I'm not going to move or fix anything, or
but I'm going to plan on it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I'm going to have 5 things on my list.
I'm going to sit here for the next couple of days and plan all the things I'm going to do next time.
Yeah.
My favorite staycation activity is there's a restaurant really close to my house that I like a lot, so I'll just be like, this place that serves really good tacos? I'm going to go there every day, twice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because you can, and it's good.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So, moving on to our next segment. This is something I've been saying we've been doing for a while. A top 100 list for video games seems like a daunting task. But about 7 months ago, I got a wild hair. I probably should have been doing something else, and I just decided, let me put this together. And I started going through all my games and memories and started compiling a list. And I thought it'd be fun for our viewers to do that too. Some of our viewers have. And then last week we just decided, hey, we're going to come up with a top 100. This is a personal list, so there's not really any judging to worry about. It's not like we're competing and we're each going to submit a couple. This is just us kind of saying, hey, games that we like. And what I found was interesting about it is, and what you guys tell me if you agree, you start realizing how much nostalgia plays more than, say, a score or a game you're supposed to like. And you'll find some like... some hard decisions you'll have to make. Like, do I really want to put every Zelda game on there, every Mario game? And you can put the PC game whatever you want. But I found that nostalgia was just so big and so fun. And what's great, too, is your list is going to be completely different than everybody else's. And if you haven't played a lot of games, you'd be surprised how easy it is also to come up with 100 games that you're going to have to kick some out. So, without further ado, we are starting this. And we're going to call... What do we call this segment? Did we think of something?
No,
Not besides the top 100. How about... oh, gosh. How about this? We'll come up with this name of the segment next time. For right now, the working title is...
Century Games.
The count of the century... the countdown... What's that? Yeah,
there needs to be a dad joke in there somewhere.
There needs to, and I got to think of it. If you guys think of it, name it. Right now, it's going to be our personal top 100. But by next time, we're gonna have a name for the segment because we're gonna do this over the course of obviously the next 10 episodes, and then if we miss one or one of the dads is missing, they'll just catch up. You know what I mean? And do 20. So we're gonna go from 100 to 91. I think what we'll do is as we go down the list, we'll just get all 10 from each one and then move on versus just going one each because that might get hard to remember. And maybe we talk a little bit about, maybe just a sentence about one or a little bit longer about each one. Just kind of go make our way down the list. And you might find that this might be a game that you might want to check out since, unlike the book club, the top 15%, this is just fair game. Again, our opinions, it's kind of fun. And what's great about a personal top 100, it is very personal. Which order shall we do it? Should we flip a coin? Shall I spin this? I'm going to spin this and see who it lands on. That's going to be Adam.
Okay.
Adam gets to start. Maybe we'll go around.
All right. I'll try to be pretty quick here. So at 100, I have Galactic Attack for the Sega Saturn.
Okay.
All right.
This is an acclaimed published game developed by Taito. And it's a vertical scrolling spaceship shooter, arcade game. It's like arcade perfect on Saturn. The kind of gimmick of this game is that enemies fly in from the background to the foreground, and so you have like this targeting reticle, and you can eliminate enemies before they're actually on your playfield. Essentially, it's a fairly lengthy game. It's about the right difficulty, meaning that it's fairly difficult, especially in later stages. But really, really good. Plays great, looks great, sounds great. You can play it in Tate mode, if you want to, with your TV sideways. Just a good game. My next game, 99, is Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game.
Ooh. I debated that.
And probably purely for nostalgia, but it's a beat 'em up. I played the dog out of this game when I was a kid. It was at our roller rink, and it just drips nostalgia for me. But it's still really fun. I have the Turtles arcade 1-up, down in my basement, and I still play this game with my kids. So it's repetitive, and it's kind of stupid, but man, it's the Turtles, and it's really good. So 98 is Wario Woods, and specifically the NES version of Wario Woods, because the Super Nintendo version, this is one of the few examples where the Super Nintendo or the 16-bit version is lesser than the 8-bit version. There's just something about it. It's a simple game. It's kind of like got one song in it, and it's repetitive.
That's the last game release for NES,
I think it is. Yeah, it's very. If it's not the last, it's very close to the last. But there's just something about that game that I just really like, I'm not good at every puzzle game, but for some reason I'm really good at this one.
There you go.
And so that's probably part of the reason I like it. But it's just one that I can play anytime. I still play it on a fairly regular basis. SSX Tricky is my next game at 97.
That's a good one.
And this was part of the EA Big Sports franchise. Tricky, I think, is the third one. I can't even remember. But basically, they're just almost comedy comic book characters doing snowboarding and doing larger than life tricks. It's racing. It's like X Games kind of stuff. It's doing tricks you can't do in real life. So it's kind of over the top, but it's very 90s toodish. So it's kind of right up my alley. My next one at 96 is Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast.
Oh, nice.
And this one is also a lot of nostalgia, but even if you go back and play this game now, like the later versions of Soul Calibur obviously look better. But dang, this game looks good for the year that it came out. And more impressively, it plays so smooth. I mean, it runs like solid 60 frames a second, no slowdown. The variety of moves, the characters are neat. I can't say that I've ever gotten Air Fingers quote good at this game, but I just mash buttons and I kind of figure out the patterns that seem to work. And it's a game you can go back and play anytime and it looks cool. My next one is Borderlands 2.
I figured it'd be higher on your list, but you got other Borderlands higher?
Well, no, I don't think so. But Borderlands isn't a game that I necessarily in any given play I'm like, wow, that was really awesome, and that's the greatest thing ever. It's just a game that I went back to and played a lot of hours on and had a lot of fun with. And it's really, to this day, the only game I really played online to any extent and had a good time doing so. And I also played it with my brothers, and more recently I've played Borderlands Tiny Tina with Tiny Tina's Wonderland Quest, the new one. I've been playing it on PS4 with Grayson, so it's just a fun game. Next up is Arkham City, Batman, and it's just kind of, I really struggle between Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. I kind of want to put them both on here.
You still have more room to put them both.
Yeah, that's correct. But I went ahead going with Arkham City just because it's a little bit more expansive and kind of it's a little bit more broken up. It's not quite as linear as a game, which has its pros and its cons. But there's a little bit more interaction with the different villains and maybe a little bit more interaction with some of the hidden objects, and just kind of the overall mechanics of the way the game works is maybe a little bit more interesting. But those two are very, very close. And, those games are just so classic and they're so good. But my next one up is also one that has a lot of nostalgia for me, and I wish they made more games like this now, but that's Time Splitters 2.
Okay.
Yes.
GameCube?
Yeah, GameCube probably specifically, but I played it a fair bit on PS2, but mostly GameCube because of the 4-player component of it. But if you want a 4-player split-screen first-person shooter to play with your friends, you can't beat Time Splitters 2. It's GoldenEye or Perfect Dark, just brought up to speed with no real slowdown. Tons of variety, tons of weapons, tons of modes, but plays really well, and there's just nothing more fun than that game if you're playing multiplayer. And then my next one's also a multiplayer game that's a lot of fun, and that's Super Smash Bros. Melee.
All right.
Okay. Same deal on the Cube.
And that's Cube, okay. Yeah. I'm not a huge Smash Brothers fan, so I'd never remember which one's Melee, which one's whatever.
Yeah, Melee. So me and my buddies in college, between the four of us, we put something like 1,000 hours on Super Smash Bros. Melee. It just was. There was always a TV on with Melee going, different people hopping on and off of it. So just played the dog out of that game, but still had a lot of fun. Still the same thing where everybody's yelling down the hall and it's what's going on. Oh, it's Super Smash Brothers. And then the next one I have up is a more recent game that I've played, and that's Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
Yeah, is that remind me, is that the first or second Ori?
I hope I got it right. It's the second one.
Okay.
That's what I, but
because it's Blind Force.
Yeah, Blind Force is the first. It's just such a cool game. Like the art style in it. I mean, the first thing that grabs you is just like, wow, this is a 2D game made, kind of with modern art style. And if you play it on like the Series X or a nice PC or whatever, like it's just, mind blowing as far as how good it looks. But also plays very good. It's a Metroidvania. It's a very competent. It's very competent both in terms of the platforming, but also in the leveling up and also accessing new areas and finding new abilities. But there's also like this really kind of emotional sort of undertones and story to this whole thing, even though there's no real talking and stuff. It's kind of hard to describe, but like if a game is a work of art, or that's this game.
It definitely evokes feelings. That game I fell off. I only played a few hours of it, but I remember it was very melancholy.
It is, but it keeps, I don't really know how to describe it. The first part of the game, the first one's the same way. Like you're kind of like, for the first hour or 2 hours or whatever. But the further you go into it, the more it opens up and the more interesting it gets. I think.
I don't doubt it.
But and I mean, a good Metroidvania tends to be kind of that way. But yeah, so that's my 91 pick, and I've played it pretty recently.
Awesome. Nice. Well, congratulations. You've only got another 90 to go, and you got plenty of time to. And we were thinking too. We've already kind of mentioned like. We won't be surprised if we have some honorable mentions when we get down to our top 10. But all right, good. Thanks for breaking the seal there, Adam. Sean, you're up. Start with 100. Go back. And like I said, not much. You don't have to have order. It's just at least, Well, yeah, it's hard to put them in order, but
It is.
shoot.
Or think of it as tiers.
Go-
I
for it.
thought in tiers, and this is actually important for my disclaimers. This first tier of mine is really weird because what it amounts to is I ran out of real estate at the end, and so I was trying to like represent bigger ideas and cram stuff in when I ran out of real estate. So this tier is weird. After that, it's going to get normal. But number 100, Touchdown Fever for the NES. Favorite like childhood co-op football on
Cool.
the NES
Very
for about
nice.
10 minutes. Love it. Number 99 is Gutterball 3D, the first and only time I stole my parents' bank card to buy an online game and download it from shockwave.com.
Nice.
Nice.
What do you play Gutterball on?
PC.
Okay.
It was an internet game for free, but then if you paid like $5, you could download it on your computer to play offline and get extra balls and things like that.
So real quick, sorry, I want to know Gutterball. It's a bowling sim?
Bowling
I
game,
was
and
guessing bowling,
you
yeah.
click, and your click speed dictates the speed of your spin, and then you can kind of control it, so you can make it do some crazy stuff.
There has to maybe one listener knows what you're talking about. That's awesome. Go ahead.
If my classmates are listening, man, we used to play that instead of doing classwork all the time. 98, I had to have one 2600 game on there because that really was my first system. I went with Moon Patrol. I like Moon Patrol a lot.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
97, Pepper 2 is actually my favorite maze game to this day. That's on the ColecoVision, and it's just it's a maze game, but a little bit more of like a puzzly element to it than ColecoVision representation. 96, Robotron 2084. I love twin stick shooters to this day, and that was my original twin stick shooter. Number 95, Snafu in television. I'm telling you, bigger representation ideas here. Snafu is like it's like the Tron-like game where you and opponents control like snakes that leave solid trails behind you, and you try to block each other off and run into it. 94, Roller Coaster Tycoon. My wife and my
Wow, that's a good pull.
Yeah, that was a good one.
my wife and I played that in college when we were broke, and she had a laptop that was just good enough.
That's a great broke game.
Was that the original Roller Coaster Tycoon?
I want to say, don't quote me on the year here, but I'm going to guess that was probably purchased in the 2004 region, and we were probably playing it up until like 2012 when we both graduated.
So quick side tangent. Did you know there's a really good documentary about the guy who created Roller Coaster Tycoon?
No.
I didn't, but now I got to watch it.
You need to watch it. So I don't know what it is, or I remember one night, I was late at night going in the YouTube rabbit hole, and there was a guy who said, because the original Roller Coaster Tycoon ended up being kind of like a made-for-free game made by one random Sweden guy.
Yeah, the original one came out in 98-ish.
Yeah, now
Now
I remember. It's the guy who does the documentary called like not No Clip Games. I think it's like No Clip Studios, or it's the guy who left IGN. He's got a British accent or an Irish accent, and all he does is make Patreon documentaries. And he made a documentary over the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it's like a 3-part series where he had to like find the guy who created the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, because it ended up getting bought and sold to Maxis or something. But anyway, check it out, because it was crazy that like it took a lot of hunting, because the guy who originally created Roller Coaster Tycoon evidently like completely like isn't part of the internet anymore, and they had to do it. So if you love that game, it made me interested in that game, and I never played it. And
that game was great.
Check it out. While you're talking, I'm gonna look up to see what the heck that guy was. And
I just verified. I didn't even know it was that old. It was from 1999.
Yeah,
that was when I was in
I
high
remember
school.
playing it when I was in high school.
Yeah, me too.
So we must have came on late, but my wife's laptop was like just good enough to make it chug through Roller Coaster Tycoon. So that was 94. 93. Keep this in mind. I'm not a big puzzle guy or a big Game Boy guy, but I got Tetris for the original Game Boy. I didn't get an original Game Boy till much later in life. 92, Heavy Barrel for the NES. That was another co-op brothers. Going to be a pretty common theme in my list. And then 91, this is my favorite one to talk about on this list, on this tier, is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban for the Game Boy Advance. Is a JRPG. Actually, the other ones are like bad action adventure games, but the portables are usually, the early portables are JRPGs, and that's the best one of the bunch.
I appreciate that your list has mini games that are too old for you to have nostalgia for.
We were behind the times about
but I think that's great.
But I think my next tiers are going to be probably more cliche in this. I was just really scrambling. I was like, I got to represent these other things that I touched somewhere.
And I will, just to back up, because I looked up, it is No Clip Studios. What they did was they started doing, they always did documentaries of games coming out now in the last 5 years, and they're starting to do greatest hits. and they did the story of Roller Coaster Tycoon. So if you look up the story of Roller Coaster Tycoon, it's about a 40-minute video. And also, save this guy. He has some of the best video game documentaries out there. They're just so well done, so well produced. But like, you and your wife are gonna love that, and I loved it, and I had no. I've never played.
No, I appreciate the call. That sounds awesome.
Any of those games, they're really good. All right, Michael, give us your 100 to 91. Ready, set, go.
All right. Well, the first one, my number 100, might be the deepest cut out of like all of my games.
All right.
I mean, possibly in the whole entire list of everyone.
You're talking
I'm
it up. You're talking
so,
it up.
Chex Quest.
This is for the Texas Instruments TI, maybe 83, 84. This is Drug Wars. And I don't know. There might be only a select few people who know about this game. And I don't know. But, yes, this was a game that just about everyone had in, I want to say, early high school, middle school on their calculator. Their TI 84, 85. And yeah, it's essentially where you vendor different pharmaceutical products.
It's like shrooms, ecstasy.
Yeah, cocaine. And what you do is you take it from one city. Essentially, you Marco Polo it. You know, like how he took spices from Asia and brought them to Rome. Yeah, you take your drugs from one city to the other, they escalate in value, and then you unload them, and then you purchase something at that city, and then you take it back to another city, and then you try to build the biggest bankroll possible. So we would have competitions in school. Are you looking this up, Ben?
I am. Yeah,
You've never seen that? It's legit.
I haven't seen it, but
it's legit. I'm not making this up.
They remade it for your phone. It's an app.
Oh, really? That doesn't surprise me. Surprise me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Adam?
I think maybe I've heard of this. I remember playing a Zelda knockoff on my TI calculator, and I remember playing Doom on my TI calculator.
Okay, this was very popular in my middle school and high school, but I don't know. Maybe it wasn't as popular. Otherwise, you can send an email. Let me know if you ever played that game.
This whole exercise is worth it just so you can teach me about Drug Wars. I'm going to go home and dig out my calculator.
That's right.
ASAP.
I've been watching Ozark here lately.
I don't know,
and
I don't know who originally got it, because we used to just transfer from calculator to calculator, but I guess someone programmed it or something, and it just spread. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
you're probably on some watch list now.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I wish I had that calculator still. Okay, going back to a little more normal game. Number 99 is Max Payne on the PC. And so when that came out and I was in college, the slowdown shooting effect,
like the bullet time,
the bullet time was amazing to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember the story. I thought I really got into the story, and I can just remember playing that in my dorm room. And I had a roommate that went to bed like at 8:30 every night, like one of those guys. And I would sit there in the dark with my headset on, plugged into my PC, and play that all night. And I don't know, I just thought it was a really good game. My number, 98 is Paperboy on NES. So just a classic, delivering the mail. Avoid the crazy people outside.
Yeah, don't hit the window.
Yep, you got the obstacle course at the end just to give you a little something extra. And just try to make your deliveries and keep your subscribers.
That's right.
Classic.
The important things.
Yeah.
I love how the concept of a paperboy and a newspaper is lost.
That's true. There are no more paperboys.
You need to combine both of your last games where you have a paperboy that delivers.
It's basically...
Maybe that's what he was delivering.
You know what? They need to remake it and just call it Uber Eats.
Uber Eats the game.
Yeah, that's true. Probably get a sponsorship. Get some dollars. Okay, number 97 is SimCity, and you can say on the PC, or I used to play it a lot at a friend's house on Super Nintendo. Actually,
the original, not 2000, not 2000.
It wasn't 2000. The original one that I played. 2000 is really good.
SimCity on Super Nintendo is actually a pretty competent game.
Yeah, and I just like the power you have. To have your people like in your city. I can build this, do whatever I want, design it however I want. I thought it was. I'm not like the super creative person, but that helped me be a little more creative. And I just thought it was a lot of fun. Like when tornadoes would come and just destroy, you'd just be like, oh yeah. Damn. Just worked an hour on this whole commercial area, I don't know. So, number 96. Aladdin on Genesis.
Oh, thank God you said
yeah,
Genesis.
yeah. So definitely Genesis. No,
Actually, it's hilarious you played that because I randomly last night got a wild hair and played that on Switch.
Oh, really?
Last night, and I realized they had one for like Game Boy Color, which is like it's just weird. I had an itch to play it, and it's in your top 100.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't even cracked that one open yet. Does the Switch version give you the choice of like SNES or Genesis?
It does, yeah. It's supposed to if you download. Actually, if you haven't cracked it open, for a while they made it free to download. So initially they only had the Genesis version, and then they had Lion King for Super Nintendo. But then they made a free download for you to get Jungle Book and the SNES version and the handhelds. But if you didn't download that within the first 3 months, you now have to pay $10 for it.
I have the 3-pack, man.
Yeah, man.
Then you're good.
Rotoscoped.
Then you're good.
Yeah. No, it's just a solid game. Again, I played it as a kid, and it was probably one of my favorite games on Genesis that I played quite a bit. I'm not even 100% sure if I ever beat it, to be honest with you. The end of it's pretty tough, but like when you're flying on the carpet through the fire.
Games are
it was
harder than you would think.
It was really tough, but what's cool about that is, and the new Disney Classics collection is, they have developer interviews of that specific game and how they got the Disney artists to give all the animation, why it was so good, and how they made it so fluid. And
when
so
they
well.
jumped, it really looked realistic to how they like jump in the movie and stuff. Yeah, it was really nice.
Yep.
Okay, number 95 is Twisted Metal on PS1.
Oh, nice.
I played this a lot at another friend's house when we were a little bit older, and I can just remember it being one of those games where I just wanted to invite myself over to his house to play, just because it was so much fun, and just like the variations of the different cars, switching it up, it just kind of always made it replayable to me.
Twist Metal's classic.
Yep. Number 94 might be a little controversial, but
it's not. It's your list.
Well, it's true. That's true. But I'm gonna go with Fortnite.
Okay, you're right. I'm upset about that.
I'm sorry. It's a solid game, and it has appeal to me. I don't know. I really like the battle royale style. I feel like a king when I kill 100 people, or like I am the last guy out of 100 people, and I'm like the last man on the island. I don't know if you ever seen like Battle Royale, the movie.
Things you might say as a sociopath.
Well, but you get to, it's fantasy. It's a video game, right? You don't really feel like slashing up guys in games and like feel like doing that in real life.
So far, I've been able to keep Fortnite out of my house because Grayson literally asks me like every day.
Yeah,
wow.
My kid's starting to ask.
Now? Yeah. Can I play Fortnite? And I'm like, no.
The fad's gonna leave soon, right?
It's still going strong.
Which would you rather than play?
What's that?
If they ask you to play Drug Wars, which would you rather than
play?
Probably
Fortnite. I'll probably take Fortnite.
Yeah.
Drug Wars. Yeah.
Drug Wars was just for its time, like a thing. But okay. Next on the list, actually, we just talked about this, NFL Blitz on N64. So we kind of already explained ourselves why it's such a good game. But yeah, really the multiplayer for me, just taking out a wide receiver before he catches the ball and then intercepting it and just seeing your friend so pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Just classic. So. All right, the next one is, 92 is Mortal Kombat. Also on Genesis because you get the blood.
The blood, yeah.
Yeah, I know that you can put in a code on Super Nintendo, but I had the Genesis version, and I had friends who were jealous that I had that, and they didn't.
The first one is so iconic. Just curious, is that your only Mortal Kombat in your whole list?
I think it is, just for nostalgia reasons.
Sure.
I have another fighter game that's definitely going to be, actually two, I think, that is going to be higher.
Don't spoil it.
No, I'm not, but it's in the 90s era. I almost even put like Killer Instinct above it, more so on the arcade version, because I actually maybe like that game a little bit more, but it's pretty close between those two games.
All right.
So... and then 91, we talked about also a little bit earlier today, NBA Jam.
Good, yeah.
So, just classic kind of fighter, similar to Blitz in its style, but the announcers, he's on fire, boom shakalaka. I still use boom shakalaka all the time, like in text and stuff like that online. It all... Yeah.
When you're trashing other kids in Fortnite.
Yeah, like 14-year-olds.
Yeah, they're like, what do you mean?
What are you talking about, old man?
Well, if I can't cuss, then I got to say stuff like that to like 12-year-olds, Like, so, I mean.
I played it on Game Gear. There's so many great ports of that.
Yeah,
thing.
didn't we play it in St. Louis?
Yeah.
Like on an arcade, and it still plays.
Yeah.
It still
No,
hits.
NBA Jam still.
I have the arcade one-up of it. I freaking love it.
Played
Yeah.
in Arcade Alley. Or
And I feel like that's kind of rare, where games will last 20 plus years and still be very playable, and just like how we were played it when we were younger.
Yeah. All right. So my personal top 100. So these ones are a little more obscure. I'll just get started and move down.
That Drug Wars obscure.
No, but I'm probably sure between the four of us, out of 400 technical games, I probably have the only N-Gage game starting out.
That is true.
That's a fair bet.
That's
All right, so
good.
number 100, I'm starting out with my kind of favorite N-Gage game I didn't play till I was an adult. It's called Ashen for the N-Gage. It is a first-person shooter. It is only available on the N-Gage. You guys can't tell me how much you like it or dislike it because you probably have never played it.
Or heard of it.
What got me about it is just how good it is and how much they crammed in a completely unique game where it plays really well on this tiny little screen. It runs great. It's not broken. It's kind of like you're playing in kind of like a downtown, almost kind of like a Assassin's Creed type city, but you're basically getting taken over by this alien invasion, and the AI is really, really good. There's destructive environments. I have played way worse first-person shooters on home consoles all day, that this one always really stuck with me to the point where anytime I look at the N-Gage, I'm like, I kind of want to fire up Ashen. I kind of want to beat this. And somehow on the little control pad, it just plays really, really well. If you have some sort of opportunity or way to play this game or check it out, please do. So Ashen for the N-Gage, I had to give a little love to my handheld.
You know how you
friend.
can beat Ashen, though, right? Lucian.
Oh, nice. That was the sequel that was never made.
Yeah, Lucian's the sequel. Yeah.
All right, number 99, also one that is very nostalgic heavy for me. Beavis and Butthead for the Super Nintendo.
All right.
I remember renting this game just because it was one of those times I saw the box and I was like, not thinking, oh, it's a movie, it's a tie-in.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. And I remember,
Did you pick up some TP for your bunghole
Yeah.
while you were getting the game? Yeah.
That humor always felt a little older than me at the time, so I always thought picking up this game because I didn't have MTV at the time. I didn't have cable.
Do you know
my
why
way of
I ended
playing
up
it.
liking Beavis and Butthead, though? I mean, sorry not to cut you off.
Go
but
ahead, yeah.
It's just because I heard adults talking about, like, I can't believe the kids are watching this trash. And I was like, what trash? Where?
Yeah. Let me check it out. Yeah.
Exactly.
And, I was pleasantly surprised that the game was played really well. The graphics were really good, and I got good at it. So to the point where at the very end you get to like go to a Guar concert, and you have to beat it. And I would get so good at beating it all one sitting. It was one of those games that just kind of like a shooter where you like know where the enemies are going to go or how to play it. If you've never played it before and you just dry run it, I see people play it and it's really like frustrating. But since I got really good at it, and you can switch between the two characters and you can fling them, and I just thought anyway, there's a part where you can hit basketballs. You jump on the back of his head and like slap him down. I just got so great at the game. The Genesis version is evidently completely different, but I remember renting it 3-4 times in a row and eventually buying it, and it is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. But if I played it now without any nostalgia, definitely wouldn't be on my top 100 list. But I love it. Go back to it every couple years. All right, 98. Groovin' Blocks for the Wii. I have talked about this before. This is a music rhythm game that never gets any love. It's kind of in the vein of Luminous. But my big reason why I put this on there is a friend of mine, John, who doesn't play very many games. I brought it over to his house one day where I was like, hey, let's play the Wii. That's all he has. And I got him hooked on it to the point where he bought it too. Or I gifted it to him, and I bought myself another copy. It's still a really cheap game. It's got really, really addictive music. And you have to drop all the blocks on a beat. And you're only supposed to get 4 blocks in a row. But something about it. And you could play head-to-head, just like Pew Tetris or Pew Pop or something like that. But it's got such a different take. It's really simple, easy to pick up and play, but it hasn't hooked me so much of its simplicity since the original Tetris. Even things like Luminous, there's some tracks I don't like. This game, Hard to find. You can't download it anymore. It's gotten delisted on all the other consoles, but you can find it on Wii probably right now for shipped $6 or something. But I absolutely love this game, and my friend got so good at it. Now when I go to his house, because he only plays like 3 games, he's gotten like a beautiful mind about it, and he kills me at it. So now it's like the one game I thought I was king at, I got my buddy who never gets addicted to any games addicted to it, and he beats me. All right, 97. Another game, kind of obscure, Star Trek Bridge Crew for the PSVR. I'm not a huge Trekkie. I'm not really into games where like one person takes a role, like with board games, and someone else is in charge. Like, I was blown away by this game. You can play as the communication specialist. You can play as the one flying the ship. You can play as the one that checks radar. You can be the captain. Everybody has their own roles, and in fact, the 4 of us, if we would play it, like it is one of the most addicting, fun, immersive games that it is. I remember seeing an interview with like the people from Star Trek, like the old actors. They gave them a preview of it, and they let them like. It feels like you're inside a spaceship and controlling it. There's enough control where you actually feel like you're doing something, but it doesn't feel like a weird simulator. Like if you guys ever did Space Camp or something where you can like, I don't know did you guys ever do a space camp when you were younger?
Well, yeah, I guess I did.
no.
Kind of,
So
yeah.
part of it is you got
we eat the space ice cream, and then they're like, "This is what it's like to be an astronaut."
well,
Yeah.
some of them had actually a simulator where you're like a school age kid, and you got to jump in and got to take over roles, and one person got to communicate what to do and like turn up the ships, put on the shields, aim your ship this way. It all seemed like over my head, but after like 30 minutes. You get in this like rhythm of like you feel like you're piloting and part of Star Trek Bridge Crew. Anyway, they're able to make it work, and I highly recommend it. If you and got some other friends, or you can play online. I was blown away by this game. I just think not many people played it. So next one, Duke Nukem 3D.
That's a good one. I almost put Duke Nukem on there.
Yeah, this is for PC, PS4. I never really got into Doom. Not much to say about Duke Nukem outside of it was a little more crazy. You know, they had some drug use in there. They've got the women that you can throw dollars at.
I'll tell you what's crazy.
The voice.
I was, going down a YouTube rabbit hole like you talked about the other night, and there is still like a very active modding community for Duke Nukem 3D.
Yeah.
And they've got this thing running like fully optimized
Yeah.
on, 3080 GTX graphic cards, with like ridiculous amounts of overprocessing and all this kind of stuff. And it looks like a modern game. Like, anywho, if you're interested, that stuff's out there, but it's like amazing.
Yeah.
You're trying to say the dollar bills look more realistic now.
Well, I'm saying everything looks more realistic,
Yeah.
including the dollar. But like it looks like a modern game. Like it looks like a AAA modern title.
Yeah.
But they've just redone the code and the textures and everything else so much that, but yeah, it just if you have a PC and you wanted to get back into Duke Nukem, I'm just saying you could play like.
Yeah.
The old version, or there's like a whole bunch of stuff out there that people have just made.
Yeah.
That's easy to find.
Yeah, and they had a PS4 remake of the old one too, and it was one that I got into because I really liked the kind of weird cyberpunk futuristic kind of look, and the male protagonist, here to kick blank, and I'm all out of, and chew bubblegum, I'm all out of gum. Just it's a time and a place game, but I really, really liked it.
Yeah, John St. John.
Yes,
Right,
and
yeah.
I wasn't too. It wasn't over my head, and I could actually play it because a lot of first-person shooter you get lost a lot, but I was able to.
No,
make
when
my
I was a
way
kid and
through
we
it.
played it, we always felt like we were getting away with something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely, and I loved all the jokes and the humor and things like that. 95, Titanfall 2 for the Xbox One.
I like that pick.
Titanfall was a online-only game. Never played it. Titanfall 2, there was a lot of word of mouth. This is a first-person shooter that's story-driven that is amazing. If you have not played
Yeah,
this
it's a
game,
really pretty game too.
yeah, it gave me the feels of the original Halo when you're playing something and you're like, why is it this good? Like back when I played the original Halo, it kind of reminded me.
It just
of
got
it.
lost in the swamp of other first-person shooters.
It definitely did. It's got just a flushed out world character, and when you're in these mechs, it feels like, I don't know, it feels authentic. It does not feel like a normal video game. And the level design and the story is just out of this world. So Titanfall 2, highly recommend. Next one, Trials Fusion for the PS4. You guys ever played any of the Trials games?
Mm-mm.
So Trials is like a motorcycle game in the vein of what's that one? Like Motocross Maniacs. What am I thinking of? The one that
It's like a physics simulator where
kind of, yeah. But what's the old
Excitebike?
Excitebike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's basically Excitebike brought into the modern world, and you just play along a rail, and it's addicting. It's fun. You don't have to be into bikes, but like when you land and you kind of beat your friend's time trial, and this one Fusion is like set in the future. It's just a ton of fun. You start playing it for 10 minutes and hours go by. But Trials Fusion for the PS4 is there. Next at number 92, we have, or I'm sorry, 93. It's a double pick, Inside and Limbo for the PS4. They made 2 games for this. I didn't really play much of Limbo, but I did play Inside.
Yeah, I've played through both multiple times.
Have you?
Yeah, they're like really good.
Yeah, it's
both of them.
Amazing. It's a game that really kind of hooks you. You don't know what to do. You don't know the controls. You don't really get a tutorial. Atmospheric is a word for it. If you have not played the movie, it's just called Inside. You can kind of beat it in one sitting over the course of a couple hours.
Yeah, it's a good, I don't know, 2 to 4 hours depending on how much you piddle around with it.
Yeah. But talk about a game that's like,
it's like kind of disturbing. It's sort of Tim Burton-esque.
yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the few games my wife's not into video games at all. It's one of the few games, the part with the dogs, where the dogs are chasing you. Like, she was, like, nervous and scared. And, like, one part you have to run back and forth while these dogs are getting you, and you have to figure out how to get around them before they get you. It's a bizarre game. I don't want to say too much about it if you haven't played it, but definitely my top 100. All right, number 92 for the PS2, Wall-E. So this is one that I told Pete Dorr in 2017 that I really liked, and he heard about, and I bought it for him, and he ended up playing it. Pete Dorr is this old kind of YouTuber. He's now on Twitch. He's kind of popular. He played through this one time, and I randomly caught him while doing it, and I typed in. He was like, "Oh yeah, you're the one that got this for me." So it is a movie tie-in game. Wall-E was made for the PSP. Yeah, anyway, so it's its own game. It plays really well. The gameplay is very varied. Unlike the PS3 and 360 version, where it's mainly kind of like a fighting game. Like you actually play through the roles of the story and the beats of the movie, and it's like done really, really well. I don't know what to compare this game to outside of like it doesn't feel like a movie tie-in game. It's kind of challenging, fun. There's a lot of puzzles. It really wasn't phoned in. I was really surprised. It helps that I really liked the movie as well. But Wall-E for the PS2 is quite the hidden gem. Really well-produced game. Large level design. Doesn't feel like a kid's game. And one that kind of stuck with me once I played it. And then number 91, I have Dreamfall: The Longest Journey for Xbox. Dreamfall is a 3-game series. It initially came out on PC, and then one of the only times it came out on console was the second one. I think Xbox. It was Xbox exclusive.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Xbox and PC.
I think it was on OG Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah.
On PC.
Yeah. Not many people talk about this game, but the settings and environment are a ton of fun. Like I said, if you played it, there's a good chance you played it.
It's kind
on
of like
PC.
a visual novel, isn't it, or a walking sim?
No, it's a full blown action game. It's just it deals with time and space differently. It kind of plays like Inception, where you are playing the consciousness of someone over the course of a couple different years in time. Like you're playing in medieval time, you're playing in the future, you're playing in the near future, and it starts out with you. Not knowing much about yourself, you lost your memory, and you have this like robotic dog that's with you, kind of like the new Buzz Lightyear. Anyway, it's odd because they thought about this entire story and all the characters, and there's a lot of exposition, and it basically wants you to keep going. It's kind of like a good Netflix series before Netflix was a thing. Like as you're playing the game, you're like, what the heck's gonna happen next? There's all these weird shapes and turns and times where it jumps into like a dreamlike state, so you have to like Anyway, there's just there's a lot to it, but no, it's a third-person action game that is kind of slow-paced. That is very, very story-driven. So if that sounds like your thing, I just remember it kind of stuck with you a lot. A lot of these are like peanut butter, man. They just stick with you a while. Are they going to be on a top 100 list of a lot of people? No, but they were with me. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, how was it? Wasn't that bad?
It was good.
I thought it was kind of fun, like learning what people liked, and
especially this 91 through 100 where we're kind of hitting our obscure things is probably a good place to learn some games you've never heard of.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a lot of fun. You know what? I think it's time for our
Handheld Holla.
That's right, our Handheld Holla. This is when we shout out and give some love to the handheld consoles out there. You know it. The Atari Lynx, the Nokia N-Gage, the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Color, the Nintendo DS, the Nintendo 3DS, the anything else. You know, handhelds are great. And they're also usually pretty inexpensive to collect for. So we want to make sure we give them that time. So we're going to just shout out a game. Could be random, could be a game that you've heard of. It could be a game well-known, could be a game not that well-known, but we're all going to pick one, and you're going to like it. Or we're going to turn this podcast right around. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody, by the way. Let's go. I'm going to go right to my right. Michael, what's your Handheld Holla pick for episode 65?
My pick is for actually the first thing you said, the Atari Lynx, and
Whoa.
it is Blue Lightning. And this is a combat simulator that came out in 1989.
Nice.
And I think that it was just extremely ahead of its time. It is a little choppy, but there's a later game that it is very similar to, which I played a lot of on the Genesis, called Afterburner. And it's pretty much the exact same format. Actually, there are like tanks on the ground that you can shoot at also. But the way how fluid it is, the graphics on it, for 1989, graphics were not that great on handhelds.
Yeah.
And I think this was just, way ahead of its time.
Awesome. Blue Lightning for the Atari Lynx. All right, I'll go next. A game that I've been playing kind of recently, randomly late at night. I've been wanting something kind of like chill to chillax because, as you're an adult during the day, things can get a little spicy, so you want to relax with something. And it is Pilot Wings Resort for the 3DS.
I got that.
Wow. This is a launch game, not expensive. I remember I have the new 3DS XL, so the tracking, the 3DS is really fun. I loved Pilot Wings for 64. You can get this game CIB for like $8. It gives me the same vibes as the Nintendo 64. It's not necessarily a difficult game, or maybe I'm just kind of good at those games because I kind of get 3 stars on a lot of it, but it's a fun game to pick up. You can skydive, you can fly a plane, you're kind of in this island mode.
Can you shoot yourself out of a cannon?
I haven't gotten to that yet, but maybe. I haven't unlocked that. But what's neat is they have this way that you can unlock it where, I don't know, the hook is really interesting. You basically will play like a free roam across the island, and you basically try to find all these balloons, but there's all these like little secret areas in this island. And the island is basically the island from the 64, except it's kind of expanded upon. But you can go inside a volcano, you can go through caves, you could take your rocket belt and just like find all these like little special tokens. And then also as you collect stars, it gives you more time in the free play area. Anyway, there's a little more to it, but it's a very chill game, but like right up my alley to play like late at night. And I've been really liking kind of slowly prodding my way through it. It wouldn't be a game for everybody, but like if you liked Pilot Wings 64 and you haven't played this, I just started up a couple weeks ago and I freaking love it, and inexpensive. So Pilot Wings Resort for the 3DS is my pick. All right, Adam, what about you?
I'm going to go with Street Fighter Alpha 3
Oh, for the
Game Boy Advance.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is good.
Nice.
And, you picked the other Street Fighter last time, Michael.
Yep.
What made you pick it this time?
Well, Benjamin brought over his analog pocket so that he could brag.
Humble brag. Not on purpose.
And I
had
tried to
it.
pick a Game Boy Advance I thought would look good or test the screen out pretty well.
Yeah.
And man, Street Fighter Alpha 3
It's a good looking
looks
game.
really good on that analog pocket.
It looks like a Super Nintendo on steroids.
And I haven't spent a lot of time with it,
Yeah.
admittedly, but it actually played. I played a couple of matches, and it actually plays really well.
Yeah.
And it looks really good for. It looks much better than Street Fighter Alpha 3 has any right to look on a Game Boy.
On a Game Boy Advance. It's
Yeah, on a Game Boy Advance.
20 plus year old hardware.
So, if that little dip in the water was any indication, the rest of it's probably pretty good too. And it's probably, obviously it's not going to be as deep as maybe his console counterparts, but
Yeah.
man, for something you can take on the go, that's a pretty solid looking game.
Yeah, no kidding. Good good pick. How much does that one run?
Oh, I don't know. I bet it's a little bit expensive, but I'll check it out.
That's all right. But I'm sure it's in the 30s. Not to put you on the spot. Well, okay. How about Sean? What's your pick this week?
I know compilation games kind of raise an eyebrow, but
it's fine.
if you won't boo me off the stage, if you are in for like quick, cheap nostalgia hits, I played EA Replay this week because it's the only legitimate way I can play Mutant League Football, the old Genesis game.
yeah.
Nice.
But then I ended up going through all of the Road Rash games for a little bit as well. By compilation standards, it's not even great, but if any of those EA Genesis era games appeal to you, there's a
Road
few
Rash
other
is
titles
great.
on those as well, and it's pretty cheap. It's sub $20.
Nice.
Nice. Road Rash, especially on there too, right?
Yeah,
All
1,
right.
2, and 3. I think I prefer 2.
Well, we'll let you pick it. I picked EA Replay a long time ago, but I mainly picked it for Mutant League Football, not Road Rash. So we're allowing you to pick it again.
Yeah, I'll pick Road Rash on EA Replay on PSP. There we go.
We tried to check it, but like honestly, that game's good enough. You need to get a. It's an inexpensive PSP game.
And it's not a huge selection. You expect compilation games to load it up and see 80 games on there, but the
No.
ones that are on there are mostly memorable.
And not on a lot of other compilations.
No.
So it's a great pick, great choice. Inexpensive. What'd you find there, Adam?
So Alpha 3 is price starting has it listed at $39 for a loose card.
Loose cart. Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, so that means head to AliExpress. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah, definitely don't buy a cheaper version of this game.
Don't do that.
I think
would
my
be-
Blue Lightning is like $10 to $15.
Oh, well, you'd hope so. The Atari Lynx.
Well, I mean, come on.
You got to now.
Don't.
Now working Atari.
Whatever, Engage.
I just mean working. Hey, I'll. You know what? I'll have a fight between the Atari Lynx and N-Gage. I used to own the Atari.
No.
You know who has my original Atari Lynx box is Shane. Because like I had.
Do you know what a fight between an Engage guy and a Lynx guy looks like? It looks like that lightning bolt video.
Can we actually fight with our handhelds because the
Yeah,
Lynx is
exactly.
pretty solid.
Lightning bolt, you're not a high
That's
enough
true,
level
physically.
to cast that
yeah,
spell.
like physically fight with them.
Yeah,
It's
but
a brick versus a rock,
Because
you know.
yeah, I got like a 2x4 here.
You say that, but it'll break, and then
Yeah.
if you think about the N-Gage is like aerodynamic.
Well, with
it'll
an
get
Engage,
you.
you could phone for help.
Well,
You have
But
to, use
with
it,
the
you have
Lynx,
to
you
use it
can-
like a shuriken or something.
but the Lynx you can fight with either hand.
That's
Oh,
true.
that's true,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should have somebody as a prank show. You know all the prank shows out there that have been overly done. I want someone to take an N-Gage to a live like T-Mobile store and just be like, can you get this working on your network?
I feel like left-handed gamers should unite and bring the Lynx back.
It's time.
Yeah,
It is time.
I'm left-handed. You know, I played it right-handed. That's the funny thing. Like everybody's like, "Oh, you can play it." It's like, no, left-handed people are used to your world.
Yeah,
we don't play
you-
the guitar the different way. We just hold it the same way you guys do because you made us get used to it that way.
It's like golfers.
Oh yeah,
A lot of left-handed people play right-handed just because most clubs are right-handed.
and-
Cheaper to find a pair of clubs at a thrift shop, you know?
yeah. If only one of us would have been in like the top 10 of Tiger Woods golf on the Wii on the leaderboards back 20 years ago.
Yeah, I don't want to
Have some
brag.
clout. Oh, you don't want to.
It might be coming up on my top 100 list.
Oh, is it? Oh, we can't do too many spoilers. Well, that'll be fun. Hey guys, play along. Please do and let us know. Maybe your 100 through 91. Also, leave us some iTunes reviews. We really love it, or any reviews on any way you listen to this. We really appreciate you guys listening over the years. We love hearing about what games you like, what games you like to hear in the Video Game Book Club. Also, iTunes reviews, good or bad. We, of course, love 5-star reviews because then that helps us be seen on that said platform. But we'll read them. We'll definitely
maybe if they submit it, maybe we can read like one or two people's lists, like their top 10 or their 10 if they submit it.
Yeah, well, if you remember last week, we read the top 20 someone listed that they had, and they had a lot of Mario on there, but they also had 2 Spider-Man games in their top 20, Spider-Man PS4 and also Miles Morales, which kind of stuck out to me because like I need to play that Miles Morales game. There's a lot of other games I really need to kind of hop in on. But anyway, we'll talk about our pickups and stuff next time. We kind of ran out of time. But we did get our normal segments in. Hopefully everybody listening, you and your family, is doing well. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen. Thanks so much. Episode 65, guys.
It's in the books.
In the books. Thank you.
Thank you.